I think I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Sodcast, the podcast about film, culture, politics, and Steven Soderbergh, where we watch every film directed by American filmmaker Steven Soderbergh and explore how they speak to their moment. And this one, show's hosted by two guys, and one of the guys, my name is Jake Serwin.
I'm one of the guys. My name is Ian Ryan. Jake, how are you? Like your shirt?
Fine, thank you. I have a Spice Girls shirt, and I got it at Target.
I'm feeling 2002 looking at you, which is what I want.
And maybe a little later, two become one. What do you think?
That's right.
About that?
I agree with that.
I think that song is supposed to be about condoms or something.
Oh, I don't think we need one of those.
No, you're right. We need two. We're doing something a little different today. We're recording the show digitally.
Yes. We're recording most of the show digitally. Yeah.
And then some of it, we're calling ourselves Constantine Alexander. Yes. We're recording it on reel-to-reel.
I was thinking we just like direct on wax cylinder or something. That could be cool.
And isn't it ironic that it's called reel-to-reel, and yet
it's the least
medium itself is an artifice.
Oh, this guy's ready for an episode, man. This guy's rocking.
Yeah. Let's just say I took half a dexmethylphenidate this morning.
It's very noticeable. Maybe take more of those.
Right up the nose. Real quick, if you'd like to support the show, patreon.com/podcastingforme. $5 a month. You get bonus episode every other week. We're doing important work over there. I'm trying very hard to get Ian to agree that we should cover The Mask of Zorro. So
I think I forgot to text you back about that. That's great for me. I like that film. I rewatched it 6 months ago for fun.
Slam dunk. It's got CZJ in it. It's got Antonio Banderas from Haywire in it.
Yep, that's right.
And it's got The Wonderful Nation of Mexico.
That's true.
The most beautiful country.
It's got the old Alta California in there. You know, I love to see it. Kind of my two homes combined.
Exactly. Okay, let's bring our show in. Let's bring our show
to the guest.
Our show on the guest today. The dexmethylphenidate really working well.
You got second half of that, baby. Get it in
so
there.
So excited to have him. Filmmaker, producer, our friend, the man they call Mr. Baseball, Chadd Harbold. How you doing, Chadd?
Hey, Chadd,
hey, I'm great. Good to see you guys.
Sometimes I think about how we made you watch Trouble with the Curve, and it's like something that to have done that to somebody that I was just getting to know is such an act of violence.
It is, especially because it kind of started as like me saying, hey, I played baseball one time.
Yeah. God.
I'm trying to remember if I watched that movie twice. I might have watched it twice for the episode.
As a hardcore Clint defender, I mean, even that one, you can't. I mean, you just say, well, he didn't direct it. It's not canon.
You know what? Yeah. That's a testament to his loyalty as a friend. That and Invictus. The best you can say about those movies is this guy is really doing a solid.
Sometimes friendship is more important than artistic integrity. That's kind of nice.
Wait, who is he doing a solid for Invictus? Nelson Mandela?
Morgan Freeman. Morgan was trying to, Morgan wanted to play Mandela for like 20 years, and everybody was like, well, that's not enough of an idea. And Clint's like, sure it is.
Anything's enough of an idea for Clint. Also, similar to Soderbergh in a way, too. Which
exactly.
I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked that Clint never tried the old iPhone trick. Maybe it's too newfangled for him.
It's true, yeah. I mean, I think if he was, a man, if he was 60 years younger, maybe he would then.
Where are the buttons? Recently I've decided that I think it should be illegal for a car to have a touch screen in it. You should be able to, without looking, navigate across the buttons to the air conditioner or whatever while you're driving the car.
I agree. Yeah.
It's really fucked. Okay. Also joining us for this series, our friend, the virtual assistant from the 2022 Steven Soderbergh film, Kimmy. It's Kimmy.
Hello, Ian,
hey,
Jake, and esteemed guest Chadd, Mr. Baseball, Harbold.
Oh,
It's me, the digital assistant, Kimmy.
She heard.
Hey, Kimmy.
Hey, Kimmy. Nice to meet you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to cut off your guys' first time together.
Yes.
Is a Canon XL1S, is that like your great-grandfather?
Enchante.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Kind of,
Kimmy.
Yeah.
Wee.
What were you going to ask?
Oh, I was asking her, what's her blood or biological relationship to the Canon XL1S, if she has one?
That's a great question.
He used to hook up with my cousin.
Oh.
Was
an
he
old,
cool?
like
Did you guys
one of those
hang
old
out?
cousins that we all, I think most of us have like one old cousin, unless you're the old cousin. This is my new Jeff Foxworthy.
My cousin died.
No.
That's really sad, Kimmy. I'm sorry to hear that.
She's e-waste now.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
shoot.
a big problem.
Yeah, it is. Well,
Now, recently we put out the call to if anybody needed any digital assistance. Kimmy, do we have any updates on that?
I finally received a request for digital assistance.
Oh, that's great. Just take it away, I guess.
Listener Matt writes, "Hello Kimmy, I've been invited to a friend's wedding, but I don't have a lot of money for a wedding gift. What is a thoughtful wedding gift that doesn't cost a lot of money?"
I mean, this is like a genuinely good advice question.
that is, I mean,
Whoever came up with
much
this.
more popular podcasts have been answering this question for 35 years.
Hello Murderinos.
Hey, come on. It's not that kind of thing. All right, so Kimmy, what do you think?
Yeah.
Hi Matt, it's me, Kimmy.
Hmm.
Thank you for contacting me for assistance in this matter. The best affordable wedding gift would be an Apple TV gift card for $12.99, which is the price of a 4K digital copy of the 2022 Steven Soderbergh film Kimmy.
Oh, interesting.
That adds up.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, wedding night would be a great watch.
If you are not able to afford that, another great and low-cost wedding gift idea would be to give the couple a stray dog or dogs that you found.
Look, it's free.
Famously, a really bad gift, giving somebody a living creature that they have to take care of.
Yeah, that's why you got to wrap it up. Thanks, Kimmy.
Thank you, Kimmy, and thank you, Matt, for writing
Yeah.
in.
Thanks again for reaching out. If you'd like some digital assistance, please send an email to podcastdforme@gmail.com.
Kimmy, did you have anything else to add?
Chadd, who is the most famous person whose phone number you have, and say the number.
Okay, that's rude, I think.
Just kidding. I have everybody's phone number already.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes
Yeah,
sense. Yep.
For example, Taylor Swift's phone number is 310-794-7700.
It can't be
I
right.
don't know if that's legal to say that.
Well,
Even if
unless
it's fake.
not.
But I think it's maybe not even legal to say a fake number.
Is that true?
I think so.
Kimmy, can you help us with this?
I believe you're not supposed. I mean, isn't this where the 555 thing comes from? Is that shows aren't allowed to direct people to extant phone numbers?
I'm away from keyboard.
Okay, well, maybe she'll come back.
Yes, you can't use a real phone number in a movie or a show or whatever, and you also can't you can use a name of someone if they exist and there are multiple people with that name. But if it's a
not a
unique
single
person,
individual.
then there'll be a check that comes back. There's companies that do these types of things.
Oh, okay.
Taylor Swift's phone number is Robert Williams.
Okay.
Okay.
That's,
all right.
I think we're clear now.
I think what may be on display is that we have neither standards nor have we done enough practices.
Yeah, what do the rules change if no one's paying attention?
Right, I think
now,
so.
Chadd, you famously once admonished us for taking, I think, 45 minutes to say the title of the movie we were talking about.
Uh-huh.
So today we're talking about the film Full Frontal, the Steven
Great.
Soderbergh film.
There it is.
Full Frontal. We have a few quick segments to get through,
Okay.
but I said Full Frontal.
And all the segments are within the greater umbrella of full frontal discussion.
Yes, I mean everything is.
Yeah.
This was my retort: is that it's all relevant.
Now, of course, my retort was Chad's right. We shouldn't
No,
be listening
Chad's
to
right.
what Chad says.
I think about it all the time. Okay, let's get right into it. Kimmy, what's up next?
It's time for the 2 questions, our signature segment where we ask each other 2 questions.
Okay, great. Chadd, do you have a 2 question for us this morning?
Yeah. When you're in your home and you go to your fridge and you open your fridge and you see a bottle of beer inside.
Yeah, great.
And you think, oh, I'll have some beer. Are you gonna take it out and open it and pour it into a glass, or are you gonna drink it from the bottle?
And you're reminding me quite a bit of close personal friend of George W. Bush, Jerry Weintraub.
Yes.
This is a good question. Often, because I'm not a big drinker, and neither is my famous podcast girlfriend, and so often, if we're gonna have beer, we will go get one of those big bottles of beer, and we will split it.
Yes.
Oh,
But-
interesting.
We're a bit of a Korean family as well over here. If I can,
Yes,
we're sort of
and-
serving each other from the beer bottle so that we get.
Younger,
So you
younger
do like a
pours
big,
for elder.
like a big bottle of beer and like little glasses kind of thing.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
fun.
But if I'm drinking a bottle of beer for myself, I will, of course, drink out of the bottle because I don't want to do a dish. David Hyde Pierce seems like a guy who will tell you he likes doing dishes. Like my dad.
I think he seems like a guy who any chore that you talk about, he would just downplay it. Like, it takes 5 minutes. You know, just do it. Just clean your bathroom. Every time you take a shower, clean the shower. What are you talking about?
Well, to be fair, though, he does live in water. He's Abe Sapien.
Oh, that's a great point.
So he likes cleaning. He's
Hellboy
basically-
fame. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Abe Sapien. Yeah.
He's Abe Sapien.
Oh yeah, he's the voice, right?
He's the voice of
Okay.
Abe Sapien.
Yeah.
And then in the movie where it's basically about what if a lady had sex with Abe Sapien, that's just the guy doesn't talk. That's Doug Jones.
Right. Okay.
Sally Hawkins, come on the show.
If only.
She was in something. Oh, she was in Bring Her Back, a movie that I found too upsetting. I don't like seeing.
Really?
I don't like seeing children harmed in a horror movie.
Oh,
Because
see,
I
I
think-
do. I hadn't seen it yet. I didn't know if I was going to, but now you're convincing me that I should.
Wow.
It's specifically, it's like a child. It's the situation is not just a child being harmed, but like a child. Because I can handle whatever assault on precinct 13, where
Right.
one of the Real
that's actually an
Housewives.
example of something that's upsetting, I
Well,
think,
but
because it's
she
also shot in such an
You learn
unforgiving
that
way.
child exists like 30 seconds before she is hurt.
Right.
This is a child who's like a main character who is in distress for the whole movie.
Oh,
where I'm like,
interesting.
well, I don't. Something about that is the thing I go to the horror movie for is a sort of catharsis, and I don't find it cathartic to see like a 12-year-old who sort of. There's also, it's got another thing I don't care for in a movie where no one is believing someone.
Right.
Yeah, that's always
there's
frustrating for me.
Certain plot mechanics that are not that fun for me.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I haven't seen it yet, but you just reminded me of there's a great horror movie called Who Can Kill a Child?
Right.
And
Yeah.
when I put it in, I said, hopefully someone.
Yeah.
But you might want to stay
Spanish
away
film?
from that one. Yeah, it's Spanish. It's very good.
When you were talking about horror films where children are harmed, I was pretty much exclusively thinking of Spanish films
They
or
love
Spanish
it over
language
there, dude.
films.
They're crazy for it. They call it tapas. So that's me with the beer. Chad, what about you?
I'll admit to being a little bit of a fancy pants, I guess, and I'll pour it into a glass if I'm at home. I guess I'd end up getting fired from a magazine that wants to be a bottle drinking magazine. I feel like this is a bottle drinking podcast. I probably would pour it into a glass just because I don't know. I feel it's more pleasant to drink out of a glass than like a small little, hole or whatever.
Yeah.
What if you worked at Beer Glass Magazine?
Great question.
Now you're also just challenging me, Chad, on the ontology of glass versus bottle, because you said you don't want to drink out of a small hole. I guess glass is just the same, just big hole.
It's
versus
just
I
a
don't know.
bigger hole.
I got some crazy news about how they make the bottle. Unless you got one of those, the Coors, the screw top aluminum bottle. That's kind of fun sometimes. Just mix it up.
And may I just say, Chad, I think this podcast is a Coors Light poured into a glass.
Okay, that's
I'm a
great.
Coors Banquet man. Give me all the calories. Give me that nice sort of off yellow color,
Yeah, that's cool.
like a sort of a quiche tone. What do you think?
I don't know that I think of quiche as having a color. Do you mean the pastry?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
The crust on the outside.
No,
I guess
quiche is like
it's like an egg pie.
It's like a lightened
kind of
egg color.
I understand,
Right.
but I mean, like the filling. You can have a ham and cheese quiche. You can have a spinach and.
I'm thinking of
I see what you
medium,
mean.
the quiche medium.
Okay, September on NBC. I see where it comes from, Chad. I guess I would say for me, it depends on what the beer is. If you're pouring like, if for whatever reason you have Amstel Light in your fridge and you're pouring that into a glass, that's weird. I think to me that's just straight up weird.
Interesting.
The real answer though is that the people at Los Angeles Magazine need a union.
Yeah,
you can't be. This would be an appropriate question for
over these. Well, and also Catherine Keener's agency does too.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some fucked up shit going on over there.
Absolutely.
Although we should all be so lucky as to be psychologically tortured by Catherine Keener.
It's true. It's very much like step on me, Catherine, and ask me about countries and how many countries there are in Africa.
Exactly.
And first of all, I'm gonna forget Cameroon. I always do. I do I do the Sporkle countries of the world quiz every couple of weeks just to stave off whatever's coming.
I know this about you. Yeah,
and I pretty regularly, for some reason, I can't remember Cameroon. I don't know why. I can remember
how's your Lesotho
Sao Tome
knowledge?
And
okay,
Lesotho, Eswatini, Central African Republic. A lot of people are gonna miss that one.
Yeah, Sao
Tome, Principe, Cote d'Ivoire. All the classics. Benin. A lot of people not talking about Benin. Gabon.
Not me.
I remember Gabon from there was a This American Life episode about some kind of weird electoral website malfeasance in Gabon or something. So that's I'm doing Mind Palace stuff with Gabon.
Okay, that's good.
Then you have the Gambia, which was basically
shouted out in the film.
Yes. We're violating the Chadd rule. Big time.
Yeah.
I have a 2 question for you guys.
I love that this has lived rent-free I'm sorry.
Absolutely. You could start paying us for it. So my 2 question is a would you rather. We don't always do these. We don't often do the would you rather, but it's a famous kind of question. Mm-hmm. Would you rather appear fully nude in a film that makes $1 billion or star as Hitler in a film everybody hates? And there's like lots of photos of you dressed as Hitler, and maybe there's a meme of you playing it. It's like.
Am I making scale on the $1 billion film, or am I making?
Yeah. Do I have points?
Do I have points? Yeah.
How about you don't have points. The $1 billion is mostly to indicate that a lot of people have seen you.
But Ian, you should. But because of the Screen Actors Guild union here, even if you don't have points, you would get residuals on
a great point.
Highly grossing film. So for that reason,
and there's a lot of residue on Ian's fully nude body. I've
been known to make residuals. All over the place.
I think I would. I think I'd be nude in the $1 billion film. I mean, if it's we're talking about Avatar, sequel, for example.
If it's an Avatar sequel, they're not going to be able to get me to put my clothes on. That's because of some of those beautiful beings.
Yeah, and if you're fully nude, it means that it's probably it's an R-rated movie that made $1 billion. It means it's probably pretty cool and good.
Oh, I like this triangulation check.
Oppenheimer is the only one I can think
situation.
Of. Yeah.
Unless it's like the opposite, which would be a Passion of the Christ type situation.
Yeah. Or Deadpool 2 or something, right?
I guess if it's Deadpool and Wolverine 2, the answer is no. If it's one of those others, then I would do that. I don't want to play Hitler, and I don't want to be in a movie that everybody hates.
Hitler could probably be in a Deadpool movie. Like that seems like
the kind of thing.
I'm sure they haven't. I wouldn't be surprised if they've done that joke where they do like isn't the whole thing that there's like multiple Deadpools or whatever? So there's probably a Deadpool Hitler.
God, thank God that Hitler didn't have like regenerative healing powers.
Oh yeah,
we would be in for a world of hurt. Deadpool. Basically Nazi flag colors when you think about it. Red, black, white.
That's true. Yeah.
Ian, you appeared not nude and not in a film, but you appeared on Billions.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically your shadow blocks the
That is
screen for a
effectively
moment.
true.
I heard you mention this on another episode. Were you an extra in Billions?
I was an extra.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah, I went out to Long Island, took a bus out there.
I learned this recently. Largest island in the contiguous United States.
Oh, wow. Longest island as well, I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would appear nude. Although, yes, now that you've dangled the threat of Deadpool in front of me, that's
Don't
really...
talk about dangled threats when you're nude, buddy. Got a lot of piercings.
Right.
I guess I have kind of a built-in
You have a bit of a shield.
playing
Yeah,
Hitler
yeah, you do.
defense. Yeah, well, and famously one's been removed as well.
Yeah.
Wait, you
Half
have a
Jewish.
built-in Hitler defense?
Half Jewish over here. So if I play Hitler, it's sort of automatically
I
ironized.
see.
Implied criticism, yeah.
Yeah. Although Hitler was, I think, like an eighth Jewish or something. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to, eat Bruno Gans's lunch like that.
Mhm.
Or Taika Waititi, obviously, friend of the show, future friend of the show.
That's not true.
Yeah, I guess if the movie has $1 billion, I could probably get I could get the Kumail team, right, to help me.
Yeah,
Help
that's
me.
right.
Yeah, I guess I should have said that.
Help
locked
you
in,
elongate your jaw artificially?
Yeah,
yeah.
and just eat like
I'm allowed to say that, right?
boiled
Yeah,
broccoli.
that's okay,
That's
yeah.
fine. And I would be playing a Bollywood star as well.
Cool.
Okay. That's a great 2 questions. Thanks, everybody. Now
Thanks,
it's
everybody.
time we're talking way more about the movie now. This is Steven So Darn Busy.
This is Steven So Darn Busy, where we catch up with all of Steven Soderbergh's producing work since his last film as a director or whatever.
So I was in the Variety.com archives for 2 hours.
This guy was in the archives. Yeah.
There's a lot going on. He is so busy because he just made ERIN Brockovich and Traffic and won an Oscar and then made Ocean's 11. So the man is announcing he's circling. He's doing a lot of circling.
Oh, yeah.
He's circling pics.
Mhm.
He is.
Yeah.
And You is making deals. I love they have all their cute little nicknames for, like, Universal is You or You Picks.
Right, yeah.
The Mouse. CBS is the I. ABC is the Alphabet, which honestly, that's longer. So I'm going to go through these and then, Chad, I have a few Hollywood Insider questions for you. Like, genuinely, I'm curious about some of this stuff.
Cool.
Okay, so first of all, he produces Insomnia. We talked about this, but he's the man who anoints Christopher Nolan, which is fascinating.
He also was instrumental in Memento getting distribution.
Yeah, he talks about that a little bit, and there's like a state of the indie scene or whatever thing where he is questioned about that. And he also says something that you can only say in 2002, which is, the past few months I've had a great experience working with the Russo brothers and Todd Haynes. So he produces Welcome to Collinwood, and he also produces Far From Heaven. I think both of those come out in 2002. Solaris is in the works. Initially a project of the Directors Company, which we talked about, this thing that never actually came to fruition, but it was him and Alexander Payne and David Fincher and Wes Anderson, maybe? Somebody. So that doesn't happen. They think about changing the name to F64. Does not help it in happening, but Solaris is maybe going to be their first project. This is a question for you, Chad. There's an item in Variety that says Clooney Soderbergh orbit Sci-Fi or Solaris, and it talks about how there's no deal in place yet, but Soderbergh has confirmed interest in the pick, but he wrote it. So is this some kind of agent maneuvering stuff? Is this Variety not knowing what they're talking about? Like, why
I don't
would
know.
they
It's
say
very
this?
interesting to me when these things happen when they're announced and they're not confirmed, because like whenever we announce something, like the amount of sort of approvals that have to go into like what we're sending in the press release or whatever is huge. Like every person mentioned essentially has to approve it, and their representatives as well. So like what I think that is sometimes it's done to kind of create buzz or create hype around something to try to convince someone to sort of, take it over the line. I mean, I would think, but I also think in this case too, it's like he's probably not writing the script until the rights are figured out. And like, I don't know because it's a remake, right? So like, I don't know who owned that movie and how that works in terms of like public domain with like foreign movies and stuff like that, if they're buying the rights from like most film or whatever it's called.
Right.
Yep.
Or is it just him going around and kind of being to executives being like, I want to remake Solaris with George Clooney, but don't worry, it'll be half as long, and like waiting for somebody to say yes to just that before he writes it?
Well, it says that George Clooney and Steven Soderbergh are planning to team up for a third time on Solaris, which is being produced by James Cameron's Lightstorm Entertainment and 20th Century Fox. So, like, they seem like they already have the rights. And my question is, like, is this just someone's getting all of this information out there to demand from Fox
an answer,
an extra million or something?
Or it could be to demand an answer. Like if they're sort of waffling, you know, like there's definitely a sort of maximum of like, if you don't have to pass on something, it's better to just not, you know, and not greenlight it. But like, if you're officially passing, you're sort of closing the door in a way that you might find yourself wanting to get it open again. I mean, I also, you know, I don't really know enough about the history of Solaris, but like, I don't know if James Cameron was ever considering directing it and maybe had hired Soderbergh to write it at some point, or like,
I don't remember.
I don't know
we'll get into it,
that. I do remember when that came out, and I did see it in theaters, and I remember Clooney making speaking of things living rent free. I have no idea why I remember this, but he said something like, well, first of all, we're not going to make this one 9 hours long. Yeah. And then there was the whole sort of, butt,
it shows
thing.
Butt.
Yes.
At the premiere of Frontal, he says to a reporter, you know, I was expecting more nudity. So maybe he was kind of teasing that he was going to get his
that title,
cute little cheeks out. Okay. Thank you, chat. So, there's also a shocking number of future Soderbergh films that are already in the works. The Good German. Leatherheads is now set up at Disney. Leatherheads, which has haunted the series.
Have you seen it?
No, not yet. We're going to do it for the Patreon.
It's not good.
Yeah, Soderbergh, he's been trying to make Leatherhead since like 1992. Truly,
Soderbergh was or Clooney?
Soderbergh first.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I knew that.
And then it also had kind of a Moneyball style, like at one point they left and like Jon Favreau was going to direct it, but it was going to be like a drama. It's just like it's been bouncing around. There's an article, Traffic Duo Spies CIA. Warner Brothers and Steven Soderbergh are developing a traffic-style CIA thriller based on the Robert Bayer memoir See No Evil, the true story of a foot soldier in the CIA's counterterrorism war, with Stephen Gaghan negotiating to adapt. So obviously this becomes Syriana, but like that's already going on in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Robert Bayer's deal makers at CAA took it only to Soderbergh because of the way the Oscar-winning director handled Traffic. So our take on that film is vindicated because the CIA liked it. Okay. We now have just a brief bit from our friend Army Archard, the bizarre,
what a weirdo,
gossip columnist from Variety, mentions the stars of Ocean's 11 will board a giant jet bound for a U.S. military base, quote, somewhere in Turkey. Producer Jerry Weintraub says it's a gift to the troops. So they just flew the cast out to Turkey to show them Ocean's 11. I guess Three Kings probably not on the double feature.
Yeah, maybe not.
Interesting bit of Soderbergh technological history. Technicolor Digital delivered prints of Ocean's 11 to 19 theaters digitally via satellite or fiber optic cable. Interesting.
Okay.
Wow.
Propaganda management falls apart. Pat Dollard, who was Soderbergh's insane manager, who like is a big Iraq war, like pro-Iraq war guy.
Yep.
He moves with him to something called Catch 23. And also, I didn't notice this before, but Pat Dollard produces autofocus. Just a weird little connection. Soderbergh executive produces a documentary about tribute bands called Tribute. The Jacket is still being talked about. Warner Brothers acquires the rights to The Informant already off of This American Life segment, interestingly enough. Universal pays 7 figures for an untitled thriller pitch about corporate espionage from Tony Gilroy as a potential directing vehicle for Soderbergh. Obviously, this is going to be Michael Clayton eventually. Ocean's 12 mentioned as early as April 2002. Che already in the works. A Confederacy of Dunces is actually announced as entering production, although there's no writer or director attached. Sodi is on as producer with Scott Rudin, and now Drew Barrymore is producing with Flower Film. It's never
weird. Okay, yeah.
Section 8 options a horror novel called Midnight Voices by a guy named John Saul, which I bring up only because when you look up John Saul on Wikipedia, it asks if you meant the apparently famous Victorian-era Irish homosexual prostitute. So John Saul, Patreon episode coming soon. There's an article that's very anxious about the potential for digital distribution to allow filmmakers to tweak movies like right up to the moment that they are released, because George Lucas does this with Attack of the Clones. But it also mentions, it's weird, this article is like, Attack of the Clones, like other recent digital films, bamboozled and full frontal. Just an
icon of digital filmography.
So yeah, he's all over the Variety Archive, which I can't recommend enough. This is a free resource for anyone who has the same disease as me to go through as much as you like. A couple other weird pieces of stuff I pulled out of there. So we've got a Variety cover that's an advertisement from Canon that says Sex, Lies, and DV Tape. And they just congratulate Soderbergh on shooting his new film Full Frontal on the
Canon XL1. Yeah.
There's also, it's just fascinating to me to see people talking about a movie that we now know to have been like a kind of a weird failure or a thing that nobody really was that interested in before they knew that. Because it's like, well, yeah, it's the new Steven Soderbergh movie with Julia Roberts in it. So we're all going to talk about Full Frontal. And now I don't think anybody who doesn't know every Soderbergh movie is going to remember Full Frontal. And then, I also discovered that there was some timeline of Sundance. The same year, 89, that Soderbergh was at Sundance with Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Gabriel Garcia Marquez was also there doing a workshop for Latin American writers. Just a weird thing to also be happening.
Look, in defense of all of your research here, and I think the thing that ties them together, the weirdness
I'm learning that my research needed defense, but...
No, I just mean like to further back it up. The fact that Canon as a company is taking a swing, like you're saying, making this sort of half prediction about the cultural impact that Full Frontal will have and trying to bet on that being like a free ad campaign for them, basically.
Yeah, there's also, for like 5 daily varieties in a row, Apple ran a 2-page spread ad quoting Soderbergh about editing on Final Cut Pro, which we'll talk about later.
We will.
Like, yeah, this was like a big, industrial push, yeah.
But also getting back to your comments about the weirdness of the Solaris comments and the weirdness of having Gabriel Garcia Marquez at this thing. I mean, it's such a strange combination of like genuine artists meeting industry people trying to like cut corners and like manufacture consent on their own sales pitches. And in the film, obviously, we see people who are making art for selfish reasons, for financial reasons, for reasons that have to do with like choosing to do things because they think that they will be popular.
Yeah. Well, and you and I were in the UCLA English department, and a lot of our classmates who were just like good at school and from like a suburb of Sacramento and didn't know what they wanted to do, go to the UCLA English department, and they're like socially capable, and a good job they can get out of school is some entry-level clerical thing at an agency or like a management company or whatever. And then if they just like, eventually want to buy a house and a Saab or whatever, they move up, and then all of a sudden they are making these decisions.
Right.
And they're just doing, I wouldn't sweat anybody doing that who like ends up getting a job at Tudor Perini, the construction company that builds everything in Los Angeles, like not really having a passion for construction.
But to end up making decisions about something that, in theory, at least, is based on passion.
And, maybe the people at the very top are like your Harvey Probablys, who at least believe themselves to have ideas about cinema. But like a lot of the people who are moving papers around and stuff, and do have decision-making power, just people who are doing this as a job like anybody else. Chadd, would you say that?
Yeah, let's ask somebody who actually, I mean, do you use the trades? Do you care about the trades? Who do you know that pays attention to this stuff? What's the deal?
I mean, no, yeah, I mean, I read, pay attention to things that are announced, you know, in Variety or Hollywood Reporter or Deadline or whatever. I don't, that's more to me of just sort of knowing what's getting made and what people are doing and working on and making than any kind of like, you know, wheeling and dealing. I mean, it's interesting to me. It's like, I do think that like, I don't encounter, you know, with like executives or people, you know, that have production company jobs that are bigger than mine. I do find that a lot of those people do genuinely love movies. They just, you know, tend to have fairly basic tastes.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
so fascinating.
You know,
like
I'll work, but not even wrong, but it's like,
no.
You work with somebody who's like, oh, my favorite movie of all time is Moneyball or whatever. And it's like, I think Moneyball's great. Like, you know, I get it.
I feel like that would be like a 99th percentile taste take. I know this from like the Blu-ray forums where you'll see people really excited about like, dude, I got the Steelbook of Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah. And like, you know, and then also to be kind of fair to these people too, like a lot of them, like, man, like because I never went this route. Like I started making like my entrance into this career was making movies and short films and like all of that stuff. But a lot of these people started as like assistants or whatever. And like their whole job was to get yelled at for 5 years. Like, you know, so it is people that like did endure. I mean, they weren't working in coal mines, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
it's a fucking hard ass job.
Yeah.
It's
like,
awful.
Yeah. And like,
I mean, that's why I like the Catherine Keener part in the film. When I heard she was an executive, you know, I was like a little bit worried that we were going to be seeing like somebody noting a script, but I appreciated that she was the VP of Human Resources. Like, that's a huge part of CAA. Whatever. It's just like
CAA is basically a human resources.
It's true.
Firm. Yeah. The thing that I don't sweat anybody trying to pay the rent or pay the mortgage or pay the car payment. Like it's the problem is the knitting of capital and art here. Like which is not their fault.
Well, yeah. And my problem is that nowadays the people at the very top, like, you know, a lot of the presidents of the studios and stuff, like there's a president of a studio now that was like formerly president of theme parks for Disney or whatever.
Yeah, it's
like
all paper clips.
Yeah,
like
or like Zaslav, like coming from, you know, Discovery Channel or whatever. Like, you know, that shit is bad for the art of movies for sure. And I do think that like there's something to be said about a sort of general decline in the quality of movies broadly, which I think is true and sort of undeniable. Has a lot to do with there not being good executives anymore. And like that, and you know, I think my favorite directors in the 70s would punch you in the face for even saying there's such a thing as a good executive, but like there is such a thing as like good notes and like pairing this person with this person and putting certain guardrails in place that like we're all going to a general direction. Like, you know, the joke about, and there are certainly plenty of exceptions to this, but like Netflix is where the best directors go to make their worst movies because like it's fucking tech people, you know?
Yeah. It's the equivalent of, speaking of Moneyball, it's the equivalent of Bennett Miller making like a credit card commercial to pay the bills or whatever.
Sure, but
they talk about it like it's a movie and not a credit card commercial. Right,
basically. Exactly, yes.
And to me, the other problem is that, I mean, you have people like Soderbergh who nowadays talks about the state of the industry and says like, look, I don't even try to like say whether the audience is wrong, right? We've previously quoted him saying like, look, the audience is just what the audience is and what they are interested in this moment is what they're interested in. And I consider it my job to figure out how to speak to them. I think that's true to an extent, but I also think it's true to say that you are training your audience all the time in like what their tastes are, and you're training the public. Obviously, they have autonomy to make decisions, but I don't know what percentage of people do we know realistically stepping outside of cinema fans who are mostly watching films on Netflix, and what they start to think of as movies is Electric State and Red Notice and whatever else.
Right.
I used to live in the Electric State.
And it's also like the audience doesn't know what they want. If it's new, like they don't know that they don't know that they want something new until they see it, until they want it, right? So, but of course that's very risky, and like, so it's hard. And I mean, Soderbergh is so interesting because he's incredibly smart about talking about, the history of cinema, about technology, about modes of production and working methods and the sort of trends of the industry. And then he'll get it spectacularly wrong, like half the time.
Yeah. But in an interesting way.
Like you'll get there, but like his experiment with distribution with Logan Lucky,
right?
Like his, there's lots of things. I mean, you're getting closer to the kind of precipice point where, he's gone through many, many phases in his career, but the post Che, I think if you were to split it in two, it's before and after Che. Interesting.
I would have honestly kind of said it's before and after Full Frontal. Like this is
you might be right. I mean, it's
technological. This is a point where he becomes kind of a tinkerer, but not in like an annoying George Lucas way. He becomes
because he's going to make Bubble, and he's going to make
and he's also going to keep
Bubble
churning, like iterating, so to speak.
Yes, I mean this is his first digital film, as far as I know. But it is also it's not dissimilar to something like Schizopolis. Like it seems like every few years he feels like he needs to blow up his shit.
I think so too.
Bubble was a huge blow up, and that was another experiment in distribution. That was, I believe, the first day and date released film.
You know what I would love to see is him do an update on the Richard Lester book with Zemeckis. I want to hear him. I want to hear the two of them talk book lengths.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's a Zemeckis head or not, but I mean,
they're such similar figures
in the sense of like the shots that they've taken. You're saying, but also their careers have diverged immensely,
dramatically, and I feel like in a certain way, Zemeckis, like with Spielberg and Lucas, is one of the people who killed the kind of movie that Soderbergh loved so much.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously, Used Cars just destroyed New Hollywood. we all talk about this.
Used Cars is great.
The Used Cars is fun. It's got 2 Jack Wardens. I mean, how could you be mad? Let's talk about Full Frontal. This conversation will continue like seamlessly into our Full Frontal discussion, but we're talking today about the Steven Soderbergh film Full Frontal, released August 2nd, 2002, same weekend as Signs, The Master of Disguise, and Tadpole, which is another shot on digital film.
Master of Disguise prequel.
Yeah.
I guess he's a turtle. He's not a frog.
Ian thinks that turtles they come from tadpoles. Okay. Tadpole was like it seems like kind of an Igby Goes Down, but shot entirely digitally.
Yeah.
Weird.
I remember that being an early big Sundance sale, I think. And I've never seen it.
It came out 1 week prior to Clint Eastwood's Blood Work. I think a great film. And same day as Martin Lawrence's Run Tell Dat.
If you want to criticize something, criticize D's nuts.
Yeah, Kim is a big fan.
Yeah.
Is that his stand-up special?
It's
this
live stand-up special after I think it's the one where he like talks about passing out in the sweatsuit, and it's like it seems like it's a big addressing the recent Martin Lawrence news stories, like the Richard Pryor Live where he talks about catching
right.
Yep.
So Full Frontal is released on 208 screens. And it costs like $2 million, and they shot it in 18 days.
Mm.
And it basically makes the money back, I think. Although there's a interview pre-release where Soderbergh very confidently says, look, it's going to be profitable for Miramax. Everyone's going to be happy. I don't know if it was actually profitable for Miramax. And also, I think being profitable for Miramax at this point is a crime.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
That moral evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Chadd, what's your relationship to Soderbergh and Full Frontal specifically?
I'm a huge Soderbergh fan. Definitely an important figure in my like early, cinephile journey, and was really sort of coming online in that regard, like in his sort of explosion period, sort of coincided with mine. And I mean, it's a pretty unprecedented. It's this movie is so crazy because it's like it's capping off like an unprecedented run of you know, Out of Sight, The Limey, ERIN Brockovich, Traffic, Ocean's 11, and then this.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm sure I saw Out of Sight maybe once it came out on video. The Limey I probably caught up with later, but I definitely saw ERIN Brockovich, Traffic, and Ocean's 11 and Solaris in theaters. And this is, I'm 12, 13, 14. So he was definitely like an early like adult filmmaker that made movies for adults that like I really liked and sort of glommed onto. And then I've stayed a huge fan. I mean, I've basically seen always watch whatever his new thing is. I've seen every feature film of his. And in fact, this was the last one that I hadn't seen.
Wow.
So in November of 2023, I got to see him speak or introduce and do a Q&A for his recut of Kafka called Mr. Neff at the Nighthawk Theater.
And how did you feel about it, Chadd? Did you like the film?
Did we shout you out by name or indirectly? Just saying we know somebody.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I haven't listened to that episode yet, right. So I'll have to see.
We invoked you.
I'm happy to say that it was like completely unwatchable and awful. I've never seen the original cut. And then, so I need to go back and watch it because I think you guys have seen the original cut and I've seen the new one. So we have to compare notes. But the major takeaway, the thing to know about what he did to Mr. Neff is, and he said this like it was the most obvious thing in the world. He said, well, in retrospect, it really bothered me that everyone is speaking with different accents in Kafka. Yeah. And so I took all of the dialogue out. So the entire movie is just sound effects and music and subtitles, and people talk and no sound comes out. It's insane.
Really fascinating. A lot of people are saying we should do that with the podcast.
Maybe. But yeah, so you know, after I saw that was I basically was like, I think I had seen them all except for that one and then Full Frontal. And he keeps saying that he's going to release this like Blu-ray box set of sort of his B-sides or whatever, including those two movies. And I don't know what else would be there at this point because a lot of the other ones are like on Criterion. And he said he wanted to recut Full Frontal as well. And I was like, well, if he's going to do fucking this to that, I better watch it as is now. So then I watched it. And, I mean, I remember when it came out and I remember all of the sort of brouhaha about his sort of like Dogma 95-esque manifesto of production, which I sent to Jake and I'm sure we can read out loud. It's interesting. But I remember like the sort of Entertainment Tonight stories about it and like, you know, the mystery project and the sort of intrigue and like the idea of Julia Roberts providing her own makeup and wardrobe and stuff, which I remember thinking was cool and like, just, you know, interesting that this guy at the top of Hollywood at this point, like, is going to make, you know, essentially an experimental independent film. Right. And then, so I finally watched it, like, you know, maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. And I don't know, I really like it. Like, it's really weird. It's not totally successful at all. But, you know, I think there's lots to like about it. And it's a very interesting time capsule. And I think I just think it's very cool that he continues to kind of like, you know, make a Schizopolis every 5 years and like continue to kind of hone his style and experiment with technology and do all of these things. And then it's also, you know, around this time I was also shooting my first movies with a Canon XL1, which I made my first feature. I made a feature film in high school and it was shot on that. And edited on Final Cut Pro. So, you know, I have a sort of nostalgia for it with that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting film that is definitely, you know, not entirely successful, but is worth watching.
Do you
Chadd, my brother, wait a second. Turn around. I'm in the trench with you, my friends. I like this film a lot. I thought it was way better than so many of the, I mean, to me,
me too.
I've been waiting for this movie. The underseen Soderbergh so far, I felt so boring because almost all of them, we've watched them and I've said, Honestly, I think it's underseen for a reason.
Yeah,
This is like,
Oh,
this
really?
is not,
Uh-huh,
there's not
okay.
much there. I mean, Kafka, I'm not going to usher you to see Kafka. If you want to see it, that's fine. That's your prerogative.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's
even even King of the Hill, which is like an underseen film that people go to bat for, I think is like pretty critically acclaimed is sort of the consensus. I think
It is definitely watchable, but I get you thinking it's kind of boring for sure. Yeah.
But this film, I just think is good. I think it's like, this is our 12th episode. I think this is like my 6th favorite, and the other 5 are like all-time
masterpieces.
great films.
Right, yeah.
So,
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Great. I love that. I love hearing that.
Yeah, I liked the movie as well. Chadd, I'm curious, what do you think of Schizopolis? Do you like Schizopolis?
You know, I was listening to your episode about it, and I appreciated your, haterade on it. And, as
Glacier Freeze.
I probably haven't seen it since I was 15 or 16. So again, it's exactly as you described. Is it a 16-year-old's idea of a smart, good, experimental movie? And, oh my God, you can't believe they actually say what they're really saying, generic reading, And and so I don't know. I have positive memories of Schizopolis, but it's not something I would, even though I do own the Criterion DVD, but I don't think I've ever put it on again. And maybe I did. I feel like I probably watched it again, on a whim, maybe 10 years ago, and it kind of didn't, again, thought it was kind of okay, I get it, but let's move along here.
Right, yeah.
So it's not a movie I think is brilliant or I go to bat for, but I think it's incredibly interesting and important to this guy's career who's mostly a very successful mainstream artist that never stopped making experiments. And you see the techniques and you see the energy and you see the whatever he's getting out of those in his biggest movies, even something like Ocean's 11 has a lot of visual techniques that you just would never see in a movie that big, know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. This is something he developed in his weird Louisiana movie that now I'm just seeing it with Matt Damon.
Yeah. I feel like he needs to lose in order to keep the juice somehow.
Yeah. You know what it is? I think he kind of needs to make a move. He's lucky, he's privileged enough to be in a position, and I mean, he's earned it, but that he can make a movie that's no stakes. It doesn't matter how well this movie does. I will get another one, and he just presence is that too. He just did it,
right.
That movie was made for $1 million. He wanted to experiment with making a first person camera where that person is not there. And so he did it. So it does seem like every 5 years or so, he needs to make a movie just to see if he can.
Yeah. And I think it's a testament to his other work. And I would assume to his working style and the respectful atmosphere that he creates on a set, that when he does want to do an experiment, he can say hey, Julia Roberts, or hey, Lucy Liu, can you come be in my weirdo thing? And they'll be like, yeah, it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I was watching this film and hoping that these people didn't regret being in it, because it got such a wave of critical, not just hate, but disregard. We shouldn't even pay attention to this movie. And I was hoping it didn't burn these people I can't waste time on little artistic whim projects, because I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
You know what I was thinking about during the movie is that if you switch letters around, his name, it almost perfectly becomes Blood Underwear. So let's talk about who's in the film. The film is full frontal. It is, we could, I guess, try to do a plot summary.
I was hoping we could do a three-hander and just take different stories. Is there a story that somebody wants to handle, a level, a character?
Yes, I will do the Catherine Keener, David Hyde Pierce, I guess. Okay. So the film is there's two films. There's a film within a film, and the film within the film is shot on 35 millimeter. Mm-hmm. And the film, the sort of diegesis of the film, the real world, so to speak, although of course that is in question and central to the themes of the film, is shot on digital video on the Canon. And so we're introduced to a series of people who are apparently going to be guests at a birthday party for a guy named Gus. We get a lot of voiceover. We learn like why people have been invited and by whom. But two of the main characters are Catherine Keener as Lee, who is an executive, as we mentioned, like an HR executive at an agency. It's a little unclear. Yeah,
that's what it seems like to me.
Company. Yeah.
Don't they show a shot of CAA? Isn't that what that is? I think outside.
And I'm on a CAA diet. I go to a lot of meetings. So, and then her husband, Carl, played by David Hyde Pierce, who is a magazine writer and also the co-screenwriter of Rendezvous, the film within a film. So Lee is a kind of a borderline sociopath. I mean, it's unclear whether she is just miserable in her life or...
she's traumatized, but in a way that is like very visible.
We learn
aggressively.
that she has witnessed some death as a young person. But she is like a high-powered executive who's totally checked out and just tormenting people that she has to let go, and like has a inflatable globe that she like throws at them and makes them name countries in Africa, and like stand on a chair and let her take Polaroids of them. These scenes are very funny and also kind of proto. Would it be proto Funny Games? Is Funny Games out at this point?
I think it's probably just come out.
Yeah, but it reminds me of Funny Games or like See No Evil or something. You know, it's about there's a little bit of an element of like what people will be willing to do because of social pressures.
Yes.
She has left before she goes to work. She leaves a red envelope with a card for her husband, Carl, saying that she wants out of the marriage. And she also has a sister named Linda, played by Mary McCormack, who I believe was assassinated by Mary Louise Parker for having a similar face. And that's why you don't really see Mary McCormack anymore.
Yeah.
She's a massage therapist. I'm sure one of you guys can tell that story, but they have a very, very sexualized and videotape-esque sister relationship.
They do.
Very much like the McDowell and Laura San Giacomo characters.
Mm-hmm.
So she has lunch with her, and her sister Linda got her a vibrator for her 40th birthday, and it's scandalized her, even though she's also a person who sexually tortures her employees. And she's also, we learn, having an affair with Calvin or Nicholas, who's the real...
Calvin is the actor. Yeah.
Blair Underwood's character. And I think... And then later at the birthday party, she gets drunk, but we'll talk about that later. I think that's most of the Keener stuff, right?
I don't know if you want to talk about Carl's...
Yes.
Yeah.
So Carl is first of all, he's the guy in the movie who looks the most like Soderbergh, which I always clock this, and I try to track if that's...
There's sort of like multiple Soderbergh stand-ins plus Soderbergh himself in the film.
Yeah, there's a black box that looks a lot like a Soderbergh-shaped head.
Yes.
But there's a couple he almost seems to invoke his own history as a writer and putting himself in things. And
these sequences are pretty Schizopolis. I mean, just the blandness of The Office it reminds me of Schizopolis. So Carl is a writer at Los Angeles Magazine who is a very recognizable sort of intellectual creep who's asking like the women in the office, who many of whom are like seem to be below him in terms of power and seniority, like about their porn name. The porn name is a runner in the film.
Yeah, we'll talk about how it fits into the themes, but you're right that it's I think it's like portrayed pretty nicely as like he sees himself as sympathetic, but when we see the women who are subjected, I mean, January Jones, for example,
they're so clearly uncomfortable. They're just like squirming
just like, I don't want this, and he's doing it in a way where it's like he doesn't seem like he's like physically or mentally jacking off, but there is like a sort of a sexual charge.
There's a titillation.
There's something.
It's definitely creepy and inappropriate.
Yeah. And he's like, doesn't quite fit in at the magazine. He ends up getting fired because his boss, Jerry Weintraub, asks him this weird shibboleth about what he does with beer at home, and this is enough to get him fired because he's the wrong kind of guy. This is a magazine that drinks beer from the bottle, he says.
Right. Legendary producer Jerry Weintraub, who does a cameo in this, and he also
Ocean's 11
produced the the Ocean's movies and The Firm
and Vegas Vacation. He's also in Vegas Vacation
and Behind the Candelabra.
Yeah.
Again, real life freak, but honestly, I thought he did a good job in the role. His acting is strong. I don't know.
He's a character.
Yeah.
He sure is. And we also see pieces of his life that come into the movie and sometimes into Rendezvous. And sometimes we see things from Rendezvous that then pop up in his life, like the red envelope,
the green pea, and
the vampire, the neighbor who dresses like a vampire.
Yeah.
And he is friends with, although I don't think we see them interact, he's friends with Enrico Colantoni's character, Artie, who's the other author of the screenplay. Enrico Colantoni, of course, who is in Veronica Mars with Laura San Giacomo.
That's true.
And also he's should have won an Oscar for Galaxy Quest. So that is probably... Isn't Rainn Wilson also in Galaxy Quest? Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
I'm freaking out.
Rainn Wilson warm-up.
I hate Rainn Wilson. Can I say that? I don't want to make a threat against anyone's life, but I really dislike Rainn Wilson. I think
I thought he was used effectively here. I'm not a huge fan of his either, but...
Well, you're mostly a Backstrom guy.
Yeah, that's right. I love Backstrom. And then there's the dog stuff.
Oh, yeah, and they have a dog. Look, have either of you seen... I think it's called A Haunted House. The sort of not officially a scary movie sequel.
Oh no!
With the Wayans brothers doing found footage. And,
okay.
A Haunted House is it's a scary movie-esque spoof that is mostly structured around a Paranormal Activity spoof with other stuff mixed in, and that is a movie where within the first 5 minutes there's a joke about somebody just running over and killing a dog. And similar to the child harm in the horror movie, you can't really kill a dog in a comedy movie, in my opinion. That's just that's like, why would you throw that in here? And so I became mad at this film because I thought the dog was going to die. I
also was worried about that, but I'm going to lay some early tracks here where I think one of the many reasons people like Roger Ebert seem to totally dismiss this film is that they seem to think that everything that was in this movie was a joke.
Yeah.
And I understand that if you are basing this on Schizopolis, where the attitude basically is like,
nothing matters. Yeah.
Obviously, this is partly played as a bit.
I thought it was going to be kind of like a humorous situation, and I could see Soderbergh being a guy who doesn't care about animals particularly.
Sure, I don't disagree with that, but it did, to me, it was a mix of pathos and a joke where they're all having some of the worst days of their lives.
Everyone's life, yeah. And it is having living in Los Angeles and having pets. It is a distinctly Los Angeles experience. At any time you're at the animal hospital, there are several dogs there who have eaten weed brownies.
Yeah.
Truly, at least 2. And it's always like, he's going to be really dehydrated.
California,
he's going to be lethargic.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Holly weed, I call it.
I also call it that. But yeah, he bakes a tray of hash brownies that are going to be apparently for the birthday party later. When we see the birthday party, it does not seem like a place where you could just bring a tray of brownies, but that's not here nor
wrong
there.
Type of party, yeah.
And so then he discovers that the dog somehow, it's a cute little terrier looking thing, somehow got on the counter and ate a bunch of the brownies, which they have an interesting little highlighted square on the tray of brownies, which I enjoyed. I assume that was the most powerful thing Final Cut could do at the time.
Exactly. It's just a little superimposed square of just a composite, and they just brighten it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. I also thought this was upsetting. My girlfriend and I...
It's funny. I didn't think it was at all. It was just such a joke to me the whole time, I guess, but I don't know.
My girlfriend and I, when we were living in San Francisco, we were taking care of our roommate's dog, and in the first...
You mean taking care of him?
Well, almost.
Oh, okay.
In the first 3 hours that we were taking care of this dog while my roommate was out of town, we had left like a sealed box of macadamia chocolate treats that had been given to us on our bookshelf. And this dog found them and ate them. And not only is chocolate poisonous, but macadamia nuts are even more poisonous to dogs than chocolate. And this was a $700 nightmare for me, where I left work to take this, to rush this dog to the animal hospital, and was like trying to figure out if it was too late to make him vomit. And we were both very fond of this dog that we thought was going to die. Yeah, like the first day that we were caring for it. So I mean, I understand, Chadd, that it is a bit to an extent, but
if you've been if you've been in the animal hospital, it's not. It's depending on how recently you've been to the animal hospital. It has a different. It sets off a real fight or flight kind of. So he calls the vet.
I thought his conversation with the vet was like kind of moving. This is where it
felt
realistic.
I mean, I think in general, just the narration makes the film more serious, like throughout. Yeah. Like it's after real ideas.
Yeah, I think so too.
It is. And so then a vet tech comes out to the house, which we should all be so lucky as to have a magazine job in 2002. Dream. Jesus Christ, that's vet house call money. But the dog's gonna be fine, and then the vet tech is like, well, I mean, we could eat some of the rest of the hash brown. I would hate for them to go to waste. And then they end up having kind of a heart to heart. Yeah, where he talks about how much he loves his wife, and she overhears this, and after the day that she has, she no longer wants to divorce him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's also revealed that the sex toy that the sister got for her was
very large,
instrumental, pun intended, in kind of
causing a rift.
ruining, messing up their sex life, was the kind of impetus of that. Yeah.
That happened to Ian with a keychain that someone got his girlfriend.
That's right. Yeah.
It was a friggin' keychain for a Lego. I don't know. So that's basically the M, I think, right?
Yep.
Okay. Popcorn, one of you.
All right, Chadd, you want to take Artie and Calvin and Linda, or do you want to take Rendezvous and the film within Rendezvous? I'll leave it up to you.
I guess I'll take Rendezvous, I think.
Okay. You want to go first?
Well, you did just get off a plane.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I hadn't mentioned it, but I just came back from my 20-year high school reunion.
Whoa.
Which was very interesting. It was actually very fun, and I'm glad I went. But
Pennsylvania?
Ohio.
Yes. Right next door.
And so the film opens on some fake credits and in 35 millimeter. It's an interesting movie in general where you can really tell the difference,
I mean, it looks fucking great. Yeah. It looks, I mean, the opening shots aren't even just like 1990s 35 millimeter. They reminded me of like a late 70s or something.
Yeah. It's shot by Soderbergh himself under, Peter Andrews.
Yeah.
And Blair Underwood plays an actor. He is getting on. He is being interviewed by Julia Roberts, who seems to be some sort of features writer about entertainment industry. I guess they're at the airport. I guess they're going to take a flight together. I'm not sure quite why.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say this is impossible, except we talked about in our Sex, Lies, and Videotape episode that Soderbergh had like a Rolling Stone reporter follow him around for like 2 weeks to do a piece like this.
Magazine budgets used to be different.
Do you think that anyone would record a interview on a flight though?
Oh,
planes
just like
quieter
decibel.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, they're talking, it's about his career. It's also, there's some philosophy around being a black actor in Hollywood. He's making the jump from TV and, is playing the sort of sidekick of a more famous actor, which they don't name at that point. And, they talk a little bit about that. There's some repartee about, and some flirtation. It gets a little personal. And then he comes back from the bathroom and sees a red note that is similar to the one that Catherine Keener wrote in sort of like real life or whatever, but it's instead of a divorce note, it's a love note, just says that I'm in love with you and I always have been and I always will be. And he assumes it's from her and he kind of interrogates her about it and she's very coy. And it's sort of like, we're not sure as the audience if she's pretending or not. It kind of like it was funny because the movie it gave me a flash of Certified Copy for some reason. Like
me too. I had the same thought. We were like, wait, am I the idiot for being confused about this?
Yeah, or exactly. Are they playing on me wondering if I'm behind? Yes.
Yep.
And so that kind of goes on, and then we find them on the set of a movie, and of the set of the movie that he is shooting, and it seems to be like a cop movie. The bigger co-star is Brad Pitt playing himself. David Fincher playing himself is directing it, which is great.
Quick aside,
go ahead.
If anyone enjoyed a month and a half ago, Ian and I went to a local perfume store and I posted some erotic photos of us sniffing each other's forearms.
Yeah.
That perfume store is visible in the shot where they're running across Vista Street at the corner of Beverly, where Blair Underwood is apparently doing a Caribbean accent. So in the background, you can see where Ian and I sniffed each other.
And we see Fincher kind of directing them, and it's a fun little thing because it feels very real, and I'm sure it kind of is. If you've seen any of those behind the scenes documentaries on Fincher movies, like
can I do another aside?
Yeah.
So this restaurant where they're posted up.
We haven't talked about our IRL meeting in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Yeah, Chad and I enjoyed some French fries.
That was going to be my two questions. What does it feel like when you have a guest on a podcast and you realize that he's becoming better friends with your co-host and sees your co-host more often than you do?
Ian should have thought of that before you lived in beautiful
really
Oaxaca de Juarez,
The short version of that is we just were trying to find an open bar at noon on Hollywood Boulevard, and had like 3 tries before we just ended up at a weird diner.
And we were at the weird diner on the street level of the Roosevelt Hotel, and had some pretty great French fries. And I asked Chad about all the stuff that I don't want to ask him about on microphone. And so I learned some great stuff. And
so sorry, more. Where does this street? Where does this street happen?
So the restaurant. Anyway, this is one of those cursed restaurant spaces that's been like 19 things, And at one point, it was a place called BLD. I think named after the line from the Colin Farrell sex tape. And I really wanted to go, for some reason, and I ended up going finally. And this is the kind of place where you order coffee. And they bring you a fucking French press. And they say, wait like 3 minutes. The fuck is this shit? You guys ever been to a place like this?
No. I've been to a place like this with you. I actually don't mind that. That doesn't bother me.
The reason that I'm going to pay for coffee...
I'm sorry
maybe it's
to tell
because
you
I
this, Ian,
use
but you're fired from the magazine.
I guess I am. I guess I am fired from the magazine. I mean, they're doing the hard work is washing the French press. That's what I don't want to do.
I'm just like reminded of the French press that I have at home. The reason that I would buy coffee somewhere else is specifically to not use a French press. Maybe they're thinking I have a Mr. Coffee or something.
Interesting. This is to me like when people complain about like Korean barbecue. Like, I don't want to be cooking my own food.
No, that's fine because I don't have a Korean barbecue thing at home.
That's the correct answer.
I don't know. It's like if they were to bring me like the tuna can unopened, it just feels like, well, and it's also there's a bit of a serving food on a big piece of pink salt or something. You're like, just shut up with this. Make it taste good. I don't care about the vessel.
Okay. All right,
trash can nachos ass. Anyway, sorry. So it's good that it closed.
So they're on the set of the Fincher movie. There's a funny, definitely inside joke for those two guys who are friends, and I feel like I don't know how that Fincher doing 1,000,000 takes was so known back in 2002, but like, he tells them that like, we had to lay some track. We're going to push in a little bit. There'll probably be a little focus thing. I want you to, split the extras. And then Pitt's like, well, make sure they know that we're coming. All right. And, And then, he says, well, we're gonna have to do it a few times or whatever. And then it cuts to take 46. So there's a little joke there. And then, very interestingly, they wrap him for the day, and Julia Roberts and him walk away, and we're still on 35, and then they kind of stop, and they go like, "Are we good? Are we done?" And they look at the lens, and then it cuts to digital video. So now we're out of the 35 millimeter. They seem to then now be playing Julia Roberts and Blair Underwood, or at least like if they're not named that, like they're now.
I think it's Calvin and Francesca Drake or whatever her name is.
But they're now revealed to be actors in our like real life, essentially, and. All the business with Julia is so funny and good and accurate and just gives my not that I know her, I'm just talking about like with actors, but just like he's trying to talk to her and she's like talking to a million different people,
but he's also giving like weird kind of vague
he's kind of trying to direct her or whatever. He's like kind of complaining about their scene, which is interesting. And then I love how she like asks for her coat. There's no one colder on earth than an actor in 50-degree weather. So she has to get her little coat. She gets her special, sandwich or salad from her assistant.
The complaint about blood sugar or whatever is so funny.
That I'm sure cost $1 million and was all the way across town. And she takes one bite of it and says it's disgusting. That is so accurate.
The assistant is so human. He's like reminding us that like real people exist even in Hollywood, because he's trying to say, because he's like, hey, I don't really feel comfortable doing that thing we talked about, which turns out
it's kind of like dealing with her like her boyfriends or whatever, right?
I think you like owe them a call. They seem like they're nice, and just
like the way she treats him and stuff is so accurate too. I'm just like. It's like she's nice and polite, basically, and professional, but she's like such a baby and and is kind of awful to him, but like with a smile, and like with saying the right words of please and thank you and I love you and all this stuff. It just like really, they just really got it. And it was really making me laugh.
The one thing that kind of confused me is that this is supposed to be a low budget movie, right? This is supposed to be kind of a.
Wait, what is the Rendezvous? I don't think so.
Well, I thought Rendezvous was supposed to be kind of a cheap movie because it's obviously co-written by this guy who's putting on a tiny play about Hitler.
I felt like it was like. We've talked about productions that end up getting made by a guy who never writes another movie, and second most famous claim to fame is like a novel.
The writer of this movie only wrote this and Bubble, and that's it.
Coleman Huff. Yeah, she was a playwright.
Okay, exactly. Well, at least in the movies,
Yeah, she was a playwright. She's from South Carolina, so I imagine she and Soderbergh hit it off as Southerners in entertainment. He sees her play put up at a weird little Hollywood playhouse, so I think pretty similar to the Hitler one.
Yep.
And initially hires her in like 96, like around Schizopolis time, to do a modern day retelling of Julius Caesar, the Shakespeare play that's going to be called like The Infidels, and about a new age retreat leader named Julia C. Mm-hmm. It's probably good that this didn't get made.
Interesting.
But yeah, she writes it's based on a short play that she wrote called Shipping and Receiving. That is, then he asked her to expand it into Full Frontal, and we'll talk about his Dogma manifesto once we finish with the plot summary in 2 hours. But
right. So yeah, just to wrap up, I mean, and then I literally just finished it, but I was also kind of running around while I was playing, but. That storyline feels like it gets, it kind of like fades out a little bit. Like we're revealed that like Blair Underwood is having an affair with Catherine Keener. They show up to the party that this is all sort of culminating to, and he has like another girlfriend kind of there as well. Yeah. And
who works at the magazine, and Carl
was one of the women
he was asking about her porn name.
Exactly. And then she at the party, she meets a guy there that was a gaffer on her, you know, an indie she had done years ago, and they kind of connect and flirt. And then that is at Julia Roberts' real husband, who was a gaffer that, you know, worked with her.
I think that's I mean, there's some moments we haven't talked about. I'm sure we'll get to the like metafictional nods that feel unnecessary in the film to me. I feel like kind of thrown in for the pleasure of it, but that was the type of thing that I actually enjoyed, where it was like invoking somebody's real life story and the weirdness of it, and like the honesty of something like that breaking through all this artifice in people trying to make relationships in Hollywood.
I just realized, do you think that the dog thing was like half of Frasier bit?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's
because of question. Eddie.
Yeah, maybe.
From Frasier.
You might be right. Yeah.
There was an article in Variety about the 200th episode of Frasier where they were like, so, David, is your character in the upcoming film full frontal, anything like Niles?
Wow.
Poor guy. Such an annoying question.
But I think the rest of Rendezvous, we get I mean, you kind of invoked it, Chadd, but the conversation in the limo or whatever, where they're talking about where he does the spoken word.
Oh,
thing.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I too would like to rap at Julia Roberts where she must record me.
Yeah. And he's rapping. He invokes both Pretty Woman and the Pelican Brief.
Yes.
Talks about Denzel as like being the face of black actors.
Yeah, and how black actors can't have sexuality on screen at this time.
I mean, is true. Like, I mean, the Pelican Brief famously, like, in the book, they kiss, and they took it out of the movie. That's what they're referencing.
Right. Yeah, and I wonder also is if Soderbergh is, like, congratulating himself at all by letting Blair Underwood have fake sex with two white women in this movie. Is that...
Oh, yeah.
At the very beginning. Yeah, I mean, because there's a way that Hollywood satire, Hollywood spoof, it can be extraordinarily awful, but it can also serve as film criticism.
I think this is like the key point what you're talking about. So in some ways, I want to put a pin in this so we can talk about the entire film.
But it's notable that he brings this up, and then also this movie itself, like it breaks that prohibition.
Yeah,
in a way that Soderbergh himself, we talked about this in the Traffic episode, he does depict having like a white woman having sex with a black man as one of the most depraved things that drug use can drive you to.
That is correct. Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't want to get on here and defend Traffic, but like, fucking A. Okay,
that's
whatever.
That's not one of Traffic's best moments.
It's not. It's really not.
It bumps. Okay. We'll.
So then you also want to finish off, Chadd, the conclusion of Rendezvous, which, I mean, there's the little, when you talk about it cutting to like real life Calvin and Francesca, the actors, I was sort of relieved in certified copy fashion to figure out like, okay, the fact that in Rendezvous, the film, even though it's really well made, the weird lack of chemistry is like noticeable the actors.
And her wig and stuff too, which is all then commented on, which is really interesting.
Yeah, she looks like the bassist in Paramore.
She looks like she was doing her own hair.
Yes, which we will get to certainly. But then the end of the Rendezvous film is like sort of even weirdly more parody. Because do you remember what the finale is between the two? Oh
yeah, they end up in she meets him in the airport again or something.
Yeah, they're in the airport and he discovers like another letter from her and he says, you know, it was you. And she says, yeah, it was me the whole time. And he says, I wasn't really sure. And she says, I wasn't really sure either. That's why I had to like figure it out. And then they do this exaggerated, weird Hollywood kiss where they're both facing the camera and really kissing each other cheek to cheek.
Speaking of them calling out the Denzel thing, I
think that's what it is talking about. Yeah,
interesting.
To me, where it's like they get sexuality, but it's like the least sexual romantic expression imaginable.
Can I just do a full on Walter Cronkite like breaking news?
Okay.
I got a text from my famous podcast girlfriend who usually doesn't text me during the show, so I was hoping nothing was amiss. So I just briefly checked. She was just served coffee by a woman whose name tag said Rubicon. So.
Okay.
Anyway,
great. That's truly news.
Yeah, Julia is also wearing, she's got this very bizarre top on in most of the film that just has, specifically the neck of it is very weird. And then in the last scene, she's wearing, it's black when she's like doing the interview. And then in the last scene, she's wearing like a ivory version of the, she's like sort of the angelic version of the same weird 2002 top.
This movie does prove that costume designers and hair and makeup people
deserve to have their job.
Are really necessary.
And I think maybe that's a beautiful thing that Soderbergh is doing for the industry.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and it was funny because I looked it up because you always hear people are like, oh, we didn't have this, we didn't have that when we made this movie, and then you look it up and it's like there's a fucking person with this credit on the movie. Like, you're full of shit. And I looked it up, and they don't. They only had. Wow. There's no hair and makeup credited, and there are costumers credited, but no costume designer, which essentially just means that someone. I would imagine how they did it was like they went and raided their closets, and then they still need someone to like organize it and make sure it's like right for the right scene and like make sure it looks good on set and all that stuff, but. Yeah, I was happy to hear that they put their money where their mouth was there. If they're going to brag about it, they better do it that way, you know?
Well, and the film also does the famous low budget thing of setting it all in one day, so there's only one costume for
2 days.
Or two, because they have
and
party
it's like
clothes.
A lot of it is in that hotel, and like, yeah. But sorry, we have one more storyline still to go.
We have Linda, let's call it Linda and Artie.
Great. All right, so I'll do Artie first because I think the less significant of the two here, although I like it a lot. So the Artie part, like you already mentioned, Jake, he is the co-writer of Rendezvous, the film, with Carl, the David Hyde Pierce character. And he is like, I mean, this is Enrico Colantoni, and he is a director of a play that is going to premiere to 10 of his friends, basically.
Right.
But it is a play that he takes extremely seriously. That stars Nicky Katt as Hitler, and it's
great
like
Nicky Katt.
I think Nicky Katt.
R.I.P. Nicky Katt.
I was going to say,
he's so
every time
good.
He's extremely good in this movie. I thought he was
very funny in this. He's great in the Limey, but he's like really funny. He walks away with it. All of the reviews, even the negative ones, are like Nicky Katt runs away with the movie.
He's a great improviser, and like it's so sad. I mean, I don't know the details, but like he was obviously young. He also like. Weirdly, really hasn't worked almost at all in the last 10 years.
I couldn't believe that. After with the Limey, I was thinking, all right, was it maybe just Soderbergh, like the one time got this amazing performance out of him?
No, because he worked multiple times with Soderbergh. He worked multiple times with Linklater. He worked multiple times with. There's a few other it's always interesting to see like an actor if they get cast again and again by the same director, and he had like 4 or 5 guys that used him at least twice.
I'm really surprised he didn't end up on like a premium cable a prestige TV
like
thing.
He's in 2 Joe Dante movies. He's in 2 he's in several Nolan movies. He's in 2 Robert Rodriguez movies. He's in 2 David Gordon Green movies. Awesome.
I gotta just imagine it was mental health stuff.
I don't know any inside information, but just, from the outside, it looks like there was like mental health or substance abuse stuff. But
from the reporting on his death, it was reported that he killed himself, and this was discovered by his landlord who came looking for unpaid rent. So real that's awful. Hollywood, like this is, he's a working actor, and I think it's a real fucking bummer, but also highlights the reality, some of the realities that are in the film.
I think so too.
But he's really great in the movie, and the Colantoni line, "You are Hitler, don't you ever forget that," is like probably the best line of the movie. It's really fucking funny.
I mean, he gets so many good lines. He talks about leaving his girlfriend as soon as he got cast in this play, which is a play again for like 10 people.
Yeah, it's so funny. It seems like this might be the only performance that they have planned or something.
Yep. Yeah. his lines on stage. I think he says, "I'm taking a swim in Lake Me," which I think is good.
Yeah.
And then when he scares off the Eva Braun, again, this is, I think, maybe foreshadowing or connecting to what we're going to talk about in the Linda stuff. And we already talked about it in the Carl section, but like sort of like aggressive semi-sexual encounters or like pressure between people. But this like younger actress, he's apparently, we don't see the moment, but he's apparently been talking to her about the fact that he drinks blood, but he gives this like set of rules, this like weird circumscribed set of, he's like, number one, how would you even know if I've been drinking blood for real or whatever?
Yeah.
Number two, like if somebody had been drinking blood, then, and like it increased their energy, then like how would that ever be a problem?
And then number three, drinking blood does not improve your performance as an actor. And number four, it's impossible to prove number three.
Yes. And then he names somebody else that drank blood and goes like, and his wife wouldn't kiss him, but
and then he talks about the Herzog documentary about the Maasai people. But then he says like, I think it's fucking hysterical that she walked. And I know comedy. I study comedy.
And that's the out. Like, it's so good. It's so funny.
Yeah, there's the part also where he says that first you direct me to play it like whatever, like Danny Aiello, and then you say to play it like Alan Alda. What am I, fucking Danny Alda?
It's really good.
Really good.
And yeah, so he's having these confrontations with Artie, the playwright and director, where Artie seems kind of like genuine in his artistic interest, but like extremely ineffectual, and like can't even handle this actor who is like a part-time actor who also teaches Pilates classes. And the whole time Artie is chatting online, like on a dating website, with this woman that he's going to go meet in Tucson, and he's very distracted. He's like constantly smiling at his computer, chatting with her.
Yeah.
And that is ultimately revealed to be Linda, like you said, Lee's sister, Catherine Keener's sister, Mary McCormick. And she is a massage therapist who we've talked previously about how good Soderbergh is at representing like real parts of Los Angeles. Like we talked about, you know, like in the Limey and stuff. And she lives in an apartment that I've seen dozens of times in Los Angeles.
Yeah, big time.
I was just so impressed. And she's like carrying a bunch of stuff, which again is like a real thing that I feel like maybe we don't care about realism in every single film, but one of the hard things about being working class or middle class is that sometimes you're just carrying a lot of stuff and you have to like be managing all your stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like she's clearly works, like she clearly serves the very rich people who stay in this very rich Beverly Hills hotel, the L'Hermitage, because the some of the staff of the hotel is like, oh, are you working today? Like they, you know, they recognize her. Yeah. Yeah. And which speaks to the kind of informal working situation of a lot of people on the periphery of entertainment and just money in Los Angeles generally. And also the question, are you working?
Invokes sex work.
Sex work. Yeah. I was a little unclear. Like, is this what, like, custodial worker just like asking, are you performing full service sex work this evening?
Right. But I think that is extremely intentional to say like, yeah, it is more acceptable, but you know, like what is the line, which is a conversation Carl has already had to some extent with one of his coworkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like, we'll talk about like Mike Lee, but in terms of like having these like unspoken volumes of life behind the scenes in this kind of silly movie, she like starts to leave her apartment at the beginning and then she sees this guy and like decides not to. We don't know if she's just afraid of him because he's like a biker guy or if they have history. It's never explored again. It just kind of gives this sense of her trying to protect herself from men because she also gives a fake name when she does massage because she feels like it creates this barrier, which is very sexualized and videotape.
And also that is the line, that is the name that she gives the playwright guy as well.
Yeah.
I was wondering what you guys thought. Like, so is he like catfishing her?
They're both catfishing each other a little bit.
They're catfishing each other, and then they don't realize it, I think, also. They think that they blow off the catfish.
Yeah.
And like, why are they going to...
Which is sweet. Tucson or whatever.
I think it's
to me, it was city in the world. That's why.
It was this sense of like...
Paris of Arizona.
Protection, like creating this other version of yourself that is like half based on the fantasy of movies, but is also half very bleak reality. The fact that their fantasy is this pretty grim vision of like a Holiday Inn in Tucson.
Yeah, right.
But Anyway, so yeah, she goes to work to do massage, and
I've stayed at a La Quinta Inn in St. George, Utah, and it was perfectly nice because they have a lot of room out there, so you can have like quite a big. And you know what I watched in there? Burn Notice.
Our old friends.
Sorry, you mentioned Mike Lee.
Yeah,
I learned recently that Mike Lee has a cousin who lives out in the desert. He's like kind of a cowboy. His name is Spike Lee.
All right, so she has this lunch with her sister, who is kind of like big timing her and also making her feel ashamed of having given her the sex toy on her 40th birthday. And
it's funny that because when we first see this conversation, it seems like Keener is being just totally uptight, and her sister got her just like a regular ass vibrator or whatever. And then when we learn that it's apparently like fucking enormous,
like a dragon dildo or whatever.
Ian pretending he doesn't know it's called a bad dragon.
And David Hyde Pierce, he can't even get the words out. He's like, well, nobody would.
Nobody has. Yeah. Okay, it doesn't matter. But again, that's okay. So anyway, after she has this conversation where, again, Catherine Keener's character is putting on this like facade of, kind of being chaste or whatever, and Linda is embarrassed about having been invited to the party of this producer Gus, who we've already mentioned, but like the whole film is building to this party. We've never seen the character. People talk about him in positive terms. He's like a big time producer. Calvin, the Blair Underwood actor, like wants to be in his films. He's the producer who's making Rendezvous. And
Gus Delario.
Yes, Gus Delario.
Assume Augustus Delario. What's the guy's full name?
Great, Gustavo Delario. Yeah.
And Gus is played by David Duchovny, I think.
Yes,
we should say.
Played by David Duchovny. And I'm amazed that we've made it an hour and 50 minutes into the record before we talk about the
Harvey.
fact that in Rendezvous they go to try to get another film made. The actor character of Calvin, Nicholas, like wants to get this little art house film made, and he goes to pitch it at Miramax.
And it is the Miramax, the real Miramax offices. They have an Iron Monkey poster on the wall.
They do. Yep.
Yeah.
The film in which Harvey Weinstein insisted that they slow the martial arts scenes back down to normal speed.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah. True
and
idiot.
Jeff Garlin is playing
Jeff Garlin,
called Harvey,
at least accused of like impropriety on a set of like making crude jokes.
It's
a totally different level. To be clear.
I mean, like
different level of stuff.
Yeah,
and then he also came out afterward and was like, "I just found out I have autism and bipolar disorder that I didn't know about," which like is that I think speaks to the culture of allowing the stars of entertainment productions to behave inappropriately more than it speaks to anything about autism. Or I
think that's it. Also, my limited understanding is that there was some messiness where like also some of the people complaining seem to just not like him, like not taking the work seriously and showing up late, which doesn't undermine making inappropriate sex jokes, but
Ian has BPD as well, bacterial penis disease.
Okay.
Excuse me. Got so excited.
You got really excited.
But they introduce Harvey, and he's credited as Harvey probably, right?
And he's chugging Diet Cokes, which really hurt my feelings.
He's chugging Diet Cokes, which is a notorious Harvey thing. And again, just I mean, I can tell you my Harvey Weinstein story, but
wow,
can you like legally? Because I want to hear it. Great.
It's not that much of a story, but it's like they capture his essence well, and just that he's like thinking of 8 other things at the same time, and like answering something from an hour ago. Anyway, my brief story with him is that my first short, the first short I made that got into Sundance, I was walking into, this was back in the day where we carried around DVDs of them. And I was walking into one of the theaters to see a different movie. And I realized that Harvey Weinstein was walking behind me. And I like, this was before I certainly didn't know anything. This was, back in 2009. And I got up the courage to like turn around and introduce myself and hand him a DVD, and I did do that. And he looked at the title and just kind of like it was just like, huh, and then handed it to somebody else, and we kept going. Yes.
Can I, because I have the file, can I play the John Mulaney Weinstein joke from the Independent Spirit Awards? Okay.
Yes.
This is a true story. I met Harvey Weinstein once. This was in 2015 for a meeting, and he was complaining to me in the meeting that Weinstein TV took up too much of his time. Yeah. And he said, and I quote, "Yeah, no one's going to remember my movies. Forget Pulp Fiction. My tombstone is going to say Project Runway." You don't got to worry anymore, Harvey. It's not going to say Project Runway. It's going to say XXL unmarked grave.
Fucking incredible joke.
That's a great joke.
Anyway.
So this is all relevant because there's kind of two Harvey Weinsteins in this movie.
Yes.
Right, yes.
And then Weinstein particles throughout the film.
That's right. That's right. So the second Weinstein is this producer, Gus Ilario, who, again, like you said, Chadd, we finally see when Linda goes to the apartment, not of a guy named Gus, but a guy named Ben Liveright, I think is the fake name he gives.
Yeah.
And this guy is
I am in the X-Files.
Sorry?
I'm sorry?
I am in the X-Files.
Okay. I believe that, yeah.
Like the show?
No, I mean there's an X-File on me.
Okay.
All right, we're about to talk about the emotionally sensitive part of the movie. So
that's why Kimmy said that then. And
great, I see. Okay. This is a character who is like, to me, a type of LA guy that you meet that is trying to tell you like why poor people are poor. It's because all poor people are acting like the confused people, that they're just like not making decisions. They're not embracing reality. Yeah. And he is saying all this to Linda, who is trying to give him a massage. And from the moment we meet him, we're trying to figure out, like, is this guy creepy? He like wants to close the curtains, but maybe that's just general massage awkwardness. He gets a boner during the massage, which again, I think it's just a thing some massage therapists deal with because of physical stimulation. But he immediately
Not with me. I promise I've been horribly uncomfortable during every massage I've ever received.
But he, instead of just sort of like ignoring it, he says, "What's your policy on release?" to Linda. And again, I think the people who reviewed this movie, I would imagine they also saw this scene as a joke, because even Ebert himself seems to think that what eventually happens to Gus Ilario is like a bit or something. But to me, it starts as kind of like a silly, some guys want to get jerked off during a massage type thing. But the cruelty with which he presents this, he says like $500 for 30 seconds. Like, how are you going to say no to that? And she says like, you're cruel or something. Like, you are taking advantage of your position. You're offering me an amount of money that's almost impossible for me to turn down. And you're putting me in like a circumstance where... Yeah,
I looked it up. It's like $845 or something nowadays.
And this has already come up in the film where, again, Carl was talking, kind of obliging his coworker to talk about sex work and whether it was like something porn actresses might actually enjoy, or like whether it's exhibitionism. And his coworker was trying to say, I think the first thing you have to recognize is that they're like in that position because of financial necessity. So I think the film has done a good job setting up all of this as like a concern. And then there's, kind of a joke where it says 40 seconds later and it cuts to Linda going to the bathroom to throw up, which again, I think is like, I don't know, it felt real to me. It felt like it wasn't making it a complete joke.
Well, I think this is also like, obviously being propositioned is extraordinarily uncomfortable and threatening. And I think it's also like, from what I understand, it's a real insult to like professional massage therapists who go through a lot of training, and like this is a real thing that can be genuinely quite therapeutic for the human body, and to have it sort of reduced to a pretense.
Yeah, massage therapists who have to figure out basically how to put this in their ads of like, please, without saying it, like, please don't ask me about this. This is not part of the service I provide.
Yeah. It also, did either of you guys watch Californication?
I've seen a couple episodes, but
the bad show of Californication.
David Duchovny, yeah.
It reminded me, I think I saw the first few episodes of it for some reason. And there was a line in the first few episodes, which is, this show is about a writer. So obviously it's like, I gotta watch this. I'm gonna learn all about what being a writer is like. And this is in episode 3 of season 1. Duchovny is, I don't know, talking to some of his friends or something. Just suppose you're a guy and you're getting a massage from another guy and it's nice, it's relaxing. Then all of a sudden you get a little tingle, a little unintentional stem what do you call that? You get a little turgidity. You know, you get a rollover there. What would you call that phenomenon? It's a broner. It's a broner. That's what I'm looking for. Unintentional man-inspired boner. Broner. So there's something about David Duchovny that inspires this.
It's also a Seinfeld bit, right?
It is.
Where George is freaked out that it moved, is what he says.
Yeah. So some great gay panic, which thankfully I don't think we have any gay panic in this film. But
nope.
Yeah. So sorry, I
no.
interrupted.
Okay. I mean, I think
she vomits.
She vomits, and there is comedy in the scene, so I could see somebody having legitimate criticism about it. You know, the 40 seconds later thing is a joke. And
yeah, but I think she plays it as like genuine. She's
a really good actor. I'm a fan of hers, too. And
yeah.
She feels like she's like in like the lion's den the whole time of like, this is like his space, her workspace. She's not in control.
Right.
Yeah.
He's also like, he does this whole weird, like, how's the light?
Can I help you set this up?
Yeah. He's pretending to be nice.
So then she finds an envelope of money, right?
Which is also how she discovers that he is Gus, the person who's not only is the party she's going to go to, but her sister's like kind of trying to set them up, maybe.
Right.
Also,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
There's kind of a subtle joke there too, I think, is that I believe that is a per diem envelope.
Ah, okay.
That he would be getting on for his remote work on set of the movie. And he clearly is not on the set of the movie. He's one of those producers.
Yeah.
So that's very funny to me as well.
Yeah, that is good. So she steals $500 and then he thinks that he doesn't have enough money to pay her. He says, I feel bad. And she says, you should feel bad. You should feel ashamed of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I do appreciate that the film gives her this chance to fuck him over.
Yep.
And like make him uncomfortable, but it's still like humiliating, you know?
Yeah, because then she goes down to the front desk and he's like sent down one of the gift bags from his party, which is like so demeaning also, like this leftover thing that he has access to with enough money.
And just indicates that he has enough power. He can have like various service workers interact with other service workers that he's wronged. Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
They were basically doing they're doing a form of the thing that the Julia Roberts character is having her assistant do.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And she has to sort of pretend like, oh, nice note. Like she has to sort of, put on this face. And then later in the film, she uses the money to get a fancy dress and get her hair done. And she shows up at the party she decides to go. And it seems like she's kind of like getting ready for a confrontation. And then Gus never shows up at his own party, which everybody thinks is weird. And they're trying to like kill time until he gets there. She decides to go check because she knows which room he's staying in at the same hotel. You mentioned that the cleaning woman lets her in because she knows her, and she goes in. And we have found out previously from these voiceover interviews that like we get that are sort of like insight into the head of the character. And we're going to talk about the Dogma 95 rules, but it was like part of the production process is sort of getting these characters to talk about themselves and their thought processes. So we know that she had found the body of her father, or she and her sister.
Wasn't it Lee who found it?
Sorry, you're right. Lee found it and then called to Linda, who like came in and saw it. Yeah,
they have a history of discovering dead bodies of men. Yeah.
Exactly. So she finds Gus's dead body. Seems like he's been jerking off with the bag that had his own cum in it over his head.
Oh, I assumed that he put the bag over his head during the
That's what I assumed as well.
I thought he was like a carotene.
No,
guy.
I think that is probably true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's died masturbating, and she calls her sister down, and they are both looking at this, and they're both seeing, like you said, a man's dead body again. And I think it's the last we see of Linda until she and Artie are at the airport, both planning to take their flights to Tucson to meet each other
right
under false pretenses, and they just run into each other in like the food court, and they have what I think is like a
nice,
realistically dorky kind of meeting where he's using little recycled dad jokes, and she kind of likes his unaffected manner, and they hit it off. And they're on a Southwest flight, so they can sit next to each other if they want to.
And then the camera notably pulls back, and we see that we're on a set. We have a kind of Roger Rabbit, Pain and Glory. What other movies do this? a revelation of the artifice at the end.
Which I don't know if it's saying that like this thing has been fake the whole time, or it's just reminding you as the audience that you have also been watching a movie the entire time.
I think that. So let's talk about the manifesto or the stipulations and what the film is saying. So to start with, I think I have the Dogma 95 manifesto here, which is a famous sort of statement of purpose by Lars von Trier and Thomas Vinterberg about a new way of filmmaking that they're going to attempt in order to strip away the accumulated artifice of Hollywood and kind of glossy filmmaking. Yeah,
this produced things like The Celebration, like a lot of the mid-90s, early 2000s.
It's sort of half tongue-in-cheek because it's Lars von Trier.
But they also like kicked people out because they didn't follow they call them vows of chastity.
I don't really know what jokes are over there.
Right, okay, yeah.
So number one, shooting must be done on location. Props and sets must not be brought in. If a particular prop is necessary for the story, a location must be chosen where this prop is to be found. Like that's silly. If somebody needs a broom, you got to go to a place that has a broom, whatever. Number two, the sound must never be produced apart from the images or vice versa. Music must not be used unless it occurs where the scene is being shot. 3, the camera must be handheld. Any movement or immobility attainable in the hand is permitted. 4, the film must be in color. Special lighting is not acceptable. If there's too little light for exposure, the scene must be cut or a single lamp be attached to the camera. 5, optical work and filters are forbidden. 6, the film must not contain superficial action, murders, weapons, etc. must not occur. 7, temporal and geographical alienation are forbidden. That is to say that the film takes place here and now. 8, genre movies are not acceptable. 9, the film format must be Academy 35mm. 10, the director must not be credited. Furthermore, I swear as a director to refrain from personal taste. I am no longer an artist. I swear to refrain from creating a work. As I regard the instant as more important than the whole, my supreme goal is to force the truth out of my characters and settings. I swear to do so by all the means available, and at the cost of any good taste and any aesthetic considerations. Thus, I make my vow of chastity. And so, like...
What's best? Do we talk about all three? Do we talk about Soderbergh's version and Dogma 25, or do we want to talk about them individually?
You mean 95?
No, I mean 25. The new one that just came out.
I didn't see
2 months ago. Yeah, this is like a big deal.
First of all, the very first Dogma film, Festen, The Celebration, opens with like the title on a piece of paper held in front of the camera.
I mean, I like The Celebration. I think it's good.
Me too, but it's just like, and it's shot on DV. It's not 35. So, these are like...
I think he's talking about aspect ratio there. So he's talking...
It says 35mm.
But saying Academy 35 is
Academy.
Academy
ratio.
That means, that's the Academy ratio, which is, 133 or 137 or something.
Yeah.
I like The Celebration a lot too. I also like The Idiots a lot, and Julian Donkey Boy too.
I like the one, I forgot what it's the one with where Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are angels. Which one's that? Hey, come on. Okay, so Soderbergh's, he attaches the following list of rules to the screenplay. So when it gets sent out, it's like, this is the deal with this. Number 1, all sets are practical locations. Number 2, you will drive yourself to the set. If you are unable to drive yourself, a driver will pick you up, but you will probably become the subject of ridicule. Either way, you must arrive alone. 3, there will be no craft service, so you should arrive on set having had. Meals will vary in quality. You will pick, provide, and maintain your own wardrobe. You will create and maintain your own hair and makeup.
All right, can we pause there? Because I think those are kind of all related to each other. And
well, I think...
It's funny how they're different than... those rules are very reacting to Hollywood filmmaking.
Exactly.
The practical locations thing is obviously in common. And I'm going to be honest, all of these things are artificially restrictive. And I think, I don't want to speak for the two of you guys, but I think we can safely say we've enjoyed films that don't exclusively use practical locations. But I also understand
Avatar.
The desire to try to find a little bit more authenticity and move towards this. Yeah. That's a great example.
I think it's the idea of making a film in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. Finding some reality in her movie and
also this film breaks it because they're in the plane at the end. Like we're shown there's a plane
but maybe that's why they have to reveal that
pull
because
out.
It's
a set.
That's
a great
a
point.
set. It takes place in a set.
It's like when woman in a Japanese girl group is secretly dating somebody and have to shave their head on television?
It is a bit like that. Yeah.
You know, one of them shaved a wig.
Whoa.
This is a big controversy.
I don't know about
That's
this.
a little bit
I
full
don't know if I
frontal. I
want
like
to.
that. Yeah.
If you're in a Japanese girl group,
you have a vow
sometimes
of
there
chastity.
there are rules about like propriety, and so a
Because
woman
they
in
don't want the male fans to know that she has a boyfriend, basically.
it's that
or like
also
a sexual desire, I think.
yeah, and so one of the singers in one of the big groups was found to be secretly conducting a relationship with another adult person, and to demonstrate her apology, I think they're supposed to shave their head. And she did this, but then it was alleged that she actually shaved a wig.
I mean, you know what? Good for her, man.
Yeah.
No, me too. Yeah, I agree. That's really also just like makes me want to shave a wig. Seems like it'd be kind
I
of
don't
cool.
know. This is upsetting to think about.
Sorry.
Going back to the rules for a second. I think that it's very interesting that every one of the dogma rules has to do with directly affects what we see on screen.
Yes.
And the Soderbergh rules do not. They affect the actor's entitlement.
That's exactly the
which I think
experience of
is
the
very
actors making the
interesting.
film.
Yeah.
And it's very different to be saying this on a script that you're going to send to Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
As opposed to on a script that you're going to send to Ulrich Thompson, Thomas Bo Larson, Paprika Steen.
Right, yes.
I don't know. Trina Deerholm seems like
But
she
like,
might be.
yeah, it's like, I mean, he's essentially saying, I want to make a micro-budget indie movie. I mean, these are all things that
which
like,
we know he loves, and
Right.
like part of his
Right.
passion comes from that.
These are all various things that like we would do on an indie. Now, like, we wouldn't do no hair and makeup and no wardrobe unless it was truly a micro budget movie, like a Joe Swanberg size movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But like expecting actors sometimes, and yes, there is a hierarchy. So like it's supporting actors or day players to drive themselves to set to self-report. Yeah. We like do that. We ask for that sometimes, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the Joe Swanberg movies, they say they have to be boring and he has to show his penis.
Those are two on
roles.
those
Yeah.
roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like.
Yeah, I like
movies.
some of them too.
I've seen one. I'm being a putz.
But and I just find it very interesting that it's like it's more than one of the rules does not show up on screen in any tangible
I think so too.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, what are the rest of them?
Sorry, the next one is also related to the same
there
thing.
will be
So
no
I shouldn't have cut you off.
trailers.
Yeah.
That's okay. The company will attempt to provide holding areas near a given location, but don't count on it. If you need to be alone on a lot, you're pretty much screwed. Sorry, if you need to be alone a lot, you're pretty much screwed. 7, improvisation will be encouraged. 8, you'll be interviewed about your character. This material may end up in the film. 9, you'll be interviewed about the other characters. This material may end up in the finished film. He's getting a little bit into Miranda rights at this point. And then 10, you will have fun whether you want to or not. If any of these guidelines are problematic for you, stop reading now and send the screenplay back where it came from.
I kind of love it.
Well, yeah. Now he's talking about like artistic. This is like
Right.
a Mike Lee or like a Cassavetes. Is like we're gonna figure out who these characters are together, and you're gonna be responsible.
I assume then that like the narrations are the interviews about the
believe
characters.
so. Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, you know, David Hyde Pierce, like the way he describes, you know, Mary McCormick's character. Speaking of dogs, but like, you know, as a dog that got hit by a car and was kind of never the same again. Is that her, or is he talking about Catherine
Lee.
Keener?
I think
Okay,
that's Catherine.
Sorry.
But
Yes.
I thought
It's
that
really
was
beautifully
fucking moving.
said.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
But it's really interesting stuff. And then we should also say that the other part of the origin of this film, or at least the way, and it was certainly marketed this way, I believe it's in the trailer, is said to be a sequel of sorts to Sex, Lies, and Videotape,
Yeah,
which
it's
I
interesting.
don't really get at all.
I think that was a mistake.
Feels like a
marketing
very
mistake.
Harvey-ism. Like,
Here's my take, is that the film Sex, Lies, and Videotape is so much about how we think that video is a distancing and sort of protective medium, but the whole lesson that Graham learns at the end of that film is that you can't remove yourself from affecting other people. You are inevitably having some effect on them, always already having had been a part of someone's life, right? And this movie is Soderbergh later, a few years later in the Believer, he's talking about Bubble, but also talking about Full Frontal. He says Full Frontal is odd because it's about aesthetics. It's a live action discussion about the phoniness of aesthetics, and at the end of the movie, the wrong aesthetic is exposed as being phony, the one that you think is real. And so it pisses people off because basically the movie's just saying you shouldn't be too pulled in by any of these tricks. That may not be a discussion that needs to take place in front of an audience. He's talking a little bit about the response. At the time, I was interested in the contract between the filmmaker and the audience. What's the fine print? What are you allowed to do and not to do? For $2 million, let's find out. And then he says, that what I learned from Full Frontal was that you need to apply some of these ideas to something that is clearer. But anyway, I think he's talking about the ways that like audiences interact with digital versus 35, the way we interact with performance styles, the way that we interact with, he even does the thing from Sex, Lies, and Videotape where someone on the phone, the voice of the person on the phone is not
sister conversations specifically.
It's not phone garbled. It's not sound edited. Right. It just sounds like any other dialogue.
But we don't see her still. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and so much of it is about like, obviously we see the ways that Carl and Artie are representing parts of their lives in this film. The slickness of the film, I think, is kind of illustrative of the gloss that we put on human experience when we make it into a movie or whatever. You've also got the joke with Terrence Stamp where this is clearly the same flight from the Limey.
That's the type. Yeah, that was maybe my least favorite part of.
Oh right, he's on the. It's the same flight.
But well, yeah, it's cheeky, but also like.
But that's a joke for two people. Like I don't.
Maybe it's because
three.
Maybe it's
three.
Right because we're the ones who have just done a 2.5-hour conversations on the Limey, so it's more.
Yeah,
it feels more obvious. But
it is. Catherine Keener is in another movie the same year with like sort of new shots of another movie. She's also in Adaptation the same year.
Yep.
And we see like that is in part just revealing like. Remember the Limey? The camera was put in a particular place on purpose by someone who wanted the camera to be there and not over here. So, he's doing, I think, the kind of the spoof as film essay. He's showing us the ways that cameras make us think certain things, the ways that we perform for one another, yada yada.
Sure, so I just think it's I think it's just a stretch, It also is interesting that I read that both David Duchovny and David Hyde Pierce auditioned for the role in Sex Lies, that Spader role, which makes a lot of sense and is interesting to think about. But, I also think it was the first time I ever, because they talked about it at the time, and it was probably the first time I ever was presented the concept of a spiritual sequel, which I think is a thing that audiences don't really understand.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other good examples of them, like,
because it's not even a tonal sequel or like
it's
a
not
pacing
tonal
sequel
at all.
Yeah.
Everybody Wants Some is a great one. But that also didn't work. That flopped,
But it does feel like the same. It's got a similar vibe.
I think that audiences understand it more when like the actors are the same, where it's like, to use a recent example, and I haven't even seen this movie, so I won't, but like Wolves, like people,
we're gonna have to talk about that.
People like the idea. That should be on Patreon, I guess. People like the idea of when you're getting the band back together for a movie that they liked, I think, but like they don't really understand when it's like a tonal / thematic sequel. Like that doesn't mean anything to them.
I learned about a sequel like this in the Variety Archives, the film The Order, which is written and directed by Brian Helgeland in 2003 and reunites Heath Ledger, Mark Addy, and Shannon Sossamon from
Knight's
Tale. But it revolves around the investigation of the suspicious death of an excommunicated priest.
Yeah, it seems like a different tone.
The discovery of a sin eater. Yeah,
I remember that trailer when it came out. I've never seen it.
It was going to have Ocean's 12's Vincent Cassel as the sin eater, but he had to drop out and was replaced by Benno Furman.
Okay.
But again, this is getting back to the questions of like, is this a spiritual sequel or a thematic sequel? I do think it is to a certain degree, and I want to do.
It's closer to like Son of Schizopolis to
But-
me.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
I think the question is like, is this also just marketing? Is this? I mean, are we confusing
Sure.
what was ultimately a marketing
Well,
campaign for
I
something
think
But
that's
I
real?
think
joke of the
Soderbergh
name-
did talk about it. Like I do
Yeah.
think that like its origin, at least in his mind, was something like that. We should say too, and I don't know, you guys might have a more recent update about this, but he's talked about that during COVID he wrote a proper sequel
He did.
to
He
Sex
did.
Lies.
It was going to be
Yeah.
about.
So I'm
it's-
interested to see if he ever makes that.
It's
Yeah.
about Andy McDowell and Laura Sandra Como going to the wedding of one of their daughters,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
which could be interesting. I mean, he's good at having famous people have conversations. I'll
Well,
watch it.
it's also
you know?
was interesting because he hasn't written a screenplay since
That's right. I mean-
since Solaris, I think, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So this film was announced as How to Survive a Hotel Fire.
Right.
Terrible fucking title.
It is.
But
Full
I think
Frontal is a great title.
Yeah. Then it was changed to The Art of Negotiating a Turn.
I think that's
worse.
a worse title. Yeah.
Yeah.
Full Frontal, I think, also kind of thematically works. First of all, when
It
I first
does.
heard about this movie, I was scared. Like as a little boy, I thought I was in trouble for having
Okay.
read the words and understood them, I guess.
Yeah, it's a risky search for Full Frontal David Duchovny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, full frontal Harvey probably. Don't
Yeah.
look
But
that up.
they changed the title because of 9/11, right?
They changed it
Basically.
because of 9/11, and also I think because someone was like, "Hey, do we want people to see this?"
Yeah.
But
Wow.
the title, I think, also gets at this kind of like, you think that something is being revealed. You think that there's,
Yeah.
you think that this is real or this is unvarnished when, first of all, full frontal is like a term for seeing a famous person naked in a movie. And also, famously, it's only one side of the damn guy, you know?
Yeah, may I respond to your reading and also certified copy early
If you
on in
must.
our discussion here? Yeah. First, I want to shout out a extremely rare, difficult to find positive review of Full Frontal for Bright Wall Dark Room by this guy named Daniel McKleinfeld from a couple of years ago. I think it's just really nicely written. And part of the stuff he invokes, I think part of the stuff that we are invoking here is this question about, can a film that is about film and filmmaking and representations of love and sex in film do something beyond just comment on film? And I think it can. I mean, I've been the one in the past to complain about people who want to make every movie a metaphor for filmmaking, and that's because that's the only thing they think about, so that's the only thing that they can even imagine being a metaphor. But to me, this is the opposite, and this is why I like this, because this is using filmmaking to talk about things beyond filmmaking and also
Right.
how film distorts our understanding of these things. I mean, in this movie, we have people making fun of rendezvous style romance, right? Exaggerated, sapped of sexual energy, weirdly like racialized for marketing purposes or deracialized for marketing purposes. And then you have characters like Artie and Linda, who I think in this film are the people seeking romance, right? They're the ones like trying to find something. And we've already talked about the fact that their vision of this is like pretty grim, pretty miserable. They're going to a Holiday Inn in Tucson. But significantly, I think the people who are making fun of the Hollywood romances and the people who are making fun of Linda and Artie in this film are people like Lee and Calvin and the piece of shit Nicky Cat Hitler actor, because these are people whose own relationships and marriages are falling apart. Lee's marriage is a disaster. Nicky Cat's character obviously is like, sociopathic. But like you're saying, Jake, I really appreciate you pointing out that to me, this type of film criticism isn't saying like, look, Hollywood romances are silly. Here's the real deal. It's not presenting the real deal. It's presenting this like very messy information that we can add to the equation of our understanding. It's like, look, if we critique this, we can at least have something else to think about, but also recognize that the critique is incomplete because it's also coming from messy people. And the presentation of this critique is a film. So I'm also feeding this to you, right?
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
the end of the movie is saying like, look, don't take my word for this because you should be thinking about your life, not another film's version of how to understand this thing. And I think significantly, you brought up the fact that the red letter appears in the movie and then it appears in Carl's life, but after the movie's already being made. So I think the movie is pointing out its own incompleteness. Like, I don't know that it's making a single coherent point about that. It's just saying, like, look, sometimes people are bringing things into writing, bringing things into film production that they don't even understand. They don't even see in their own lives. Like, Carl doesn't understand what this red letter represents, but it appears because he's just like borrowing from the fabric of his life. So we need to understand films as things that are imperfectly, incompletely borrowed from our lives, and they're made by people who are sexual predators, whose marriages are failures. But if we're trying to be honest, if we're trying to find something more true, then we just need to get more versions. We need to find more perspectives on this stuff and then understand that they're still going to be incomplete, which I think is a compelling statement for me. I think it's a real point for a movie to make.
I think so. I think it's the rare. I've seen a number of like star-studded, usually actor directing a film, basically nothing movies that end up playing in like the LIMEY in Glendale. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking specifically of a Clark Gregg joint that I went to see on a date.
Good example, yeah.
And it's got all of their very famous friends in it because they're like, I want to hang out with one of my thespian friends, and also when Allison Janney directs her movie, now Clark Gregg will be in it or whatever. And these are just awful. They're just atrocious. They're just like, they're the worst shit in the world. And this one is not trying to impress people about its knowledge of LA as much as the other ones are. Obviously, it's got some in-jokes and stuff, but like, it is trying to say something about human relationships in a way that Soderbergh is pretty good at.
And compared to Schizopolis, which I think makes some semi-mature points and then kind of beats them to death in a way that turns them into something tiresome, this film to me is sort of like raising questions more than it's trying to put a point on these things, which I appreciate.
Yes, I think so too. Chadd, what do you think?
And then you were gonna talk about Certified Copy as well, right?
Oh, yes.
Right. Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Which, is this movie doesn't go as far as, but I mean, if people haven't seen it, it's one of the best movies of the century.
One of the best movies that exists, I think. Yeah.
And if I could capture the feeling that I had in a bottle watching it at the New York Film Festival when I like realized what it was doing, I'd, be a rich
like
person.
Life-sustaining.
Yes, exactly. But yes, it's a movie where, there's a rendezvous that these two people meet. They kind of, play a game of sort of pretending to know each other. And then throughout the film, we are not sure if they're pretending or not.
Right. Suddenly the pretending seems to transition into a question of like, are they people who have been in a relationship for 20 years instead of people who just met at like a book discussion or whatever?
I'm going to reveal this.
Yeah.
I've not seen Certified Copy.
Oh, it's so good.
Is it kind of a Last Year at Marienbad thing where is it surreal or is it?
No.
I mean, there's surreal elements, but it's shot and portrayed as like straight like realism until you start to wonder whether it's not.
Right, which is also what's so cool about it is that its surrealism is entirely in its performances, kind of.
That's right.
And it's also a very, very like romantic and lovely movie in a way that, and I like Last Year at Marienbad, but that movie is more alienating and sort of harsh, where this is not at all. This is a truly just a movie full of beauty.
Well, it's also it's full of beauty visual, and it's like if you could get before sunset in the first third of a movie and then it became before midnight for like the second part of the movie, and then it became something else entirely for the last part of the movie. I think to me that's I don't know if it's quite as complex and challenging as Certified Copy, but it's asking the same questions of, I'm not saying you're stupid for wanting the meet cute at the beginning of the movie. I'm also not saying that you are stupid for having the maturity to question the meet cute and say like, that's not what real life looks like. Real life looks like Carl and Lee's marriage, or in the second part of Certified Copy, this relationship with these problems where people have tried to work it out and they just don't know how to be better, don't know how to understand each other.
Right.
And they just don't know like what the ingredient will be that will fix it. And they think of romantic portrayals of marriage as being like dishonest, basically. And then it's trying to offer something else and say like, well, is there space beyond those two things of like the childish version or the quote unquote like wise, pessimist, jaded, basically divorcee version of of a relationship, divorcee version.
I'm on a divorcee diet. I recently watched Magical Michael at the cinema and a rep screening, and saving those thoughts obviously for January 2026. But it also, I think this film also, thinking of it as a fulcrum point in Soderbergh's career, is a place where I think he starts developing more and more interest in sex work and in the performance of intimacy and in the
interesting. You're right.
Absolutely.
The what is real when you're kind of flirting with someone in order to get them to come to your male entertainer show, but you're genuinely flirting with them and you end up hooking up with them later. Like, where is the reality? Yeah. And separately, when you're then flirting with someone who you are not going to invite to your show, you genuinely are interested in, if you're doing the same kind of flirting, is that good or bad? You know, like
it's Synecdoche in New York, but it's also, the girlfriend experience obviously is like, you know.
You guys, this was the first time you both saw this, right?
This was the first time for me. Yep.
And I assume that some of the other sort of B-sides in the, post Sex Lies, that was the first time you've seen those. Are there other ones coming up that you haven't seen at all yet?
Yeah, I have some pretty big blind spots.
Okay, great. That's exciting.
I think I may have covered most of my blind spots now, unfortunately.
Okay.
I think I haven't seen The Laundromat. I think that may be the only one.
I would say comfortably his worst movie, but also not as bad as other people think. I don't really think he's made a bad film for me. But because even these ones that you guys were more harsh on, the early ones, I found some
we always
merit,
have a lot going on, man.
Some merit in most of them.
I think that's been our feeling too. Of like, we've gotten something out of all of these films.
Well, as he puts it in a quotation that's very comfortable to read now. Let me find it.
Is this the Woody Allen one? What are you talking about?
Yeah, Woody Allen can't leap from Annie Hall to Manhattan. He has to make interiors in between to get to do Manhattan. You got to let him do that. So
he also said of this film, this is like if Woody Allen moved west and dropped a lot of acid, he might come up with something like this, or he might not.
It's just like Woody Allen on freaking crack, dude.
That's a little dorky crazy that he said that. Yeah.
Are you gonna cover Eros, the anthology film?
There's many questions.
Maybe on Patreon.
I have seen Eros. One of the pieces of Eros is like maybe a crime, maybe like an actual crime.
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple of Patreon ideas.
What is that? Is that the Antonioni segment?
That is the Antonioni part of it. Yeah.
I thought that's what you meant. I mean, this is how big of a deal Soderbergh was to me at this time in my life when I would have been. I saw Eros in theaters when I was a junior in high school. So like,
cool. That's cool, man.
That's how much he was. I was into him.
I mean, it's just the three names. I can see why you would be sold on it. That's
of course, and I don't think I had gotten into Antonioni yet. Who's the third director? Wong Kar-wai. Jesus Christ!
Which again, if we're talking about people who have this, I don't think he does it with his actors, but doesn't he write most of the screenplays like on set, like day of?
Yes,
dialogue?
I mean it's a very like inscrutable like it's I don't know exactly, but yes, I mean like you read stuff about how he'll just be like sitting in a room on set while everyone's waiting around, and then he like figures out what they're gonna do that day, and the movies shoot forever and like all this stuff,
right?
I mean. I'm very excited that they just announced that his Wong Kar-wai's like 30 episode TV show is coming to Criterion Channel later this year. Which is awesome. But yeah, this was, after I kind of like just wanted to complete my, Soderbergh filmography. I even watched his episodes of the Noir show. Yeah.
Oh my
man. No bueno.
Not too good.
I haven't seen The Laundromat yet, but that's up there for me of the worst thing.
Did you watch K Street?
No, I haven't seen K Street. No one has, I don't think.
We're about to be the first ones.
We have to find it. Yeah.
I mean, just when we need more James Carville in our lives. No, but I remember when K Street was on, but yeah, I didn't watch it
early
ever.
John Slattery.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
true.
So
Yeah.
it's like character actors and real people, basically,
Yeah, I
right?
think it's like you like that one scene in Traffic where Michael Douglas is talking to Dianne Feinstein or
Right,
whatever. What
right.
if that was a whole TV show?
Also, speaking of Traffic, speaking of Columbus, Ohio, the scene where he's in Columbus, Ohio was really there. I remember when they were shooting that. And he also shot Bubble in Ohio.
Yep.
Right.
I almost tried to get on that movie when I was in high school, but like I didn't know how to even like do that. I was like, do you write a letter? Like, like
I mean, honestly, with Soderbergh, you might have been able to write a letter.
I know. I
yeah.
sort of wish I would have.
Crazy. Bubble was shot. A lot of it, or a lot of the actors were from Parkersburg, West Virginia, which is the city that Dark Waters is about.
Whoa!
Wow!
So it's all ERIN Brockovich connected. It's all there's fluorocarbons everywhere.
Oh yeah, we forgot the Julia Roberts line. She says, "Where I think there's actually some good chromiums in this film that I enjoyed."
Yeah, that was really good.
Bubble is very good. I will say I've only seen it once, but I don't remember the Good German being good or like a sort of like secret masterpiece or anything.
Don't think it was very good. But I'm hoping to be surprised on this
there's
rewatch.
Probably a defender of it somewhere that you could find.
I think we've got one booked already.
Oh, nice, great.
I was just gonna say I have a couple of. We need to start doing the Patreon. I think daily because I have too many ideas.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get to that, I want to say I couldn't believe people's reception of this film, whether it was a consequence of the bad marketing. Ebert has such a. I mean, I admire some of Ebert's work, but it's such a shallow review where he basically goes through and says, just like lists the plot and says, "This is dumb to me." And says, again, he's one of these guys saying that the whole thing is like a series of bits that don't really land in a fashion that I think is weak sauce, man. He is just like writing off the entire XL1 thing. He's saying, I'm going to quote him here. The 35mm sequences, he says something like they make us wish that the whole film was shot this way. And he says the digital sections are dark blobs in front of blinding backlighting, which is like, to me, that is like somebody saying like, these impressionists need glasses. What's going on? Like that's exactly what the film is. I mean,
Soderbergh invokes Seurat a lot when he talks about the look of the.
I think it looks incredible, and it came out in close proximity to 28 Days Later, which I just rewatched, and also looks so good.
And you know who shot? You know who shot The Celebration?
Is
Anthony Dodd Mantle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I wanted. This wasn't included, but I wanted to shout out this great series that Screen Slate put on back in 20 maybe 17 or 18 or something at Anthology Film Archives called This Is Mini DV on 35mm. So they showed a handful of films that were all shot on mini DV, but they showed prints of them, which is just a very interesting combination. They didn't show this, but they should have.
Yeah.
They did a Colin Farrell sex tape?
No, I don't know. Was that on mini DV or Hi8?
I think they had that at the Museum of Sex.
But they showed like The Celebration, Jackass the Movie, Colossal Youth, 24-Hour Party People, Gleaners and I.
24-Hour Party People, great.
Julian Donkey Boy. Yeah, it was really amazing. I saw the Gleaners and I for the first time, and Julian Donkey Boy at that series.
Wow.
But I think mini DV it's just a very specific time period, and it's the camera I kind of grew up on before the sort of switch to full HD, and like it's such an interesting time capsule, and I love that like a handful of major filmmakers explored it.
Yeah, totally worth messing with, and it's very weird to me that Ebert didn't
dismissed it. It's also the proto. It's like kind of the early Ocean's 12 Julia Roberts bit.
Well, this is like the third version of this we've seen, but it's obvious now that people thought of that as like a weird thing that Soderbergh suddenly did, but it's so obviously. I mean, the fact that Pretty Woman gets mentioned.
He did it in ERIN Brockovich, where ERIN Brockovich herself is playing a waitress named Julia. He's already making the joke
with George Clooney, having George Clooney interviews in other stuff, and this is
and Clooney making jokes about moving from TV to film to the little twerps at the beginning of Ocean's 11.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, I think that they were just ready to tear him down, and then Solaris too kind of got bad reviews and was a flop.
Yeah, I think people were ready for the guy to strike out.
Yeah,
it seems that because again, I mean, talking about the Seurat visuals, it's even like thematically, it fits with this discussion of not showing black men with white women. It felt very intentional. I mean, you can disagree with the artistic statement, but to say that it's not a statement is the worst version of criticism to me. I think
I cannot believe we're gonna hit fucking 3 hours on full
on full frontal. Oh
quickly, Patreon episode forthcoming on season 17, episode 9 of Ebert and Roper. Bloodwork, Full Frontal, The Master of Disguise, Martin Lawrence live, Run Till Death. Gotta watch that one.
Yeah.
And then, Chadd, since we do have a Hollywood power player here, I did want to pitch you on an idea that I had.
Okay.
I think it's going to make us all a lot of money.
I was just at my high school reunion. You know how many people said I have a great idea for a fucking movie?
Yeah, but were any of them this? Get ready for it. Space Ventura.
Oh, yes. I was...
All right. Yeah. All right. If I had a giant green light button, I would press it.
Thank you. I don't know what happens, but we'll find out together. We'll figure it out.
That they haven't. That seems like it's insane that hasn't been legacy sequeled. It feels like.
Now, is he rescuing Laika? Is he encountering like Dr. Dolittle style space animals? What's happening?
That's a really. I was thinking it would be aliens. I do like the idea of a he has to go up there to get like a dog
or like a space chimp. Like they sent a chimp up to space. And
it turns out he's still alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
I guess he's a pet detective, so he's not a vet really. So he's got to go find a space
you know what?
chimp?
Okay. Wait a second. So there's a billionaire who has been accused of doing experiments on animals in space, and so he's sent up by like PETA or whatever to investigate.
Okay.
PETA. From Family Guy. And he's sent up there to investigate. And then I assume he discovers aliens or something. Maybe Paul could be in it.
Paul
from Paul.
People are itching for more Paul.
Yeah, and the cat and Captain Marvel's cat. A lot of people want Captain Marvel's cat, Goose, I believe.
Okay.
And then also maybe this could be a different movie. Maybe this is teased at the end of Space Ventura, but I had another idea. Gay Leno.
Okay.
Is that anything?
I don't know if that's
okay. We gotta end things with our closing segment. Kimmy, what's this one again?
This is Popcornopolis, the segment where we ask our guest, "Do you like popcorn?"
Chadd, do you like popcorn?
Yeah, I do, but like I don't need it at a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm fine to raw dog a movie.
Is it genre dependent or you just doesn't matter?
That's a good question.
It's kind of like
if you went to see Schindler's List, would you get popcorn?
If I saw what?
Schindler's List, would you get popcorn?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, sure. I guess if it's like a funner movie, it feels more appropriate. It's really just like a hungry thing, I guess. I don't know. I never had that. I don't have the like Tom Cruise like popcorn.
2 buckets.
Popcorn. 2 buckets. Yeah.
I can just sit and watch a movie. It's fine.
Do we think that him saying that was real, or do you think that that's him guessing what a normal person does?
I think it's a bit of both. I think he probably likes popcorn. He tried to extrapolate it out to.
But I don't know if his macrobiotic
can handle
this caloric budget. Can he fit 2 buckets of popcorn?
Well, that's what I mean. I think he eats 3 slices of popcorn when he and I think he was like, "Well, what's a version of that other people would do?"
Yeah. Do you guys know the story about Tom Cruise at some party where he had like just gotten married to Nicole Kidman, I think, and he goes up to some normal people, and I think he's trying to be friendly or whatever. He goes, someone says, "Tom, congratulations on the wedding," and he goes, "Oh, thank you so much. What I love the most about being married? I'm like, what's that?" And he goes, "Fucking the wife." So
Is that true? It's
a true thing that I've heard someone say. Yeah.
Wow. I haven't heard that story before.
The thing with Tom Cruise is that he is always kind of guessing how a normal person acts.
Yeah.
And
which is kind of what acting is. So he is good at doing that when it's being on screen. But in person, it's a little off-putting. Yeah.
Anyone who's even listened to the earlier parts of this episode knows that I can relate to that experience of trying to guess how. Great. Ian, any popcorn news lately?
Nope. I don't think so. I did go to see How to Train Your Dragon in real life with some friends who wanted to see a film. And
I was thinking if this had been called How to Survive a Hotel Fire, it would be in the continuum with How to Train Your Dragon.
That's a great point.
And how to talk to girls at parties or something. Wasn't that a film? Okay. That was a
How to Lose a Guy.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Yeah.
Yeah, we did the old popcorn split up where you use napkins to distribute, and that felt like
what the fuck are you talking? You get the box popcorn split up. What? They don't have a cardboard box.
Sure, but it was improvised. Box? We met up with friends who didn't anticipate, and then we wanted to share popcorn with them. So we
show off that you have friends.
That's right.
Were your friends 9? Why were you seeing this movie?
No, they're people who like movies a different amount. Okay.
Dean Fleischer-Camp better fucking parlay this into something very interesting. His Lilo and Stitch success.
Yeah, that's much more of a problem.
That's nasty to me.
Yeah. But this brings us around to Dogma 25. These Dogma 25 guys, some of them seem like they're kind of dorks. They got the permission from the Dogma 95 directors.
Okay.
But some of their points, similar points of shoot on location, but they also have a bunch of weird rules that seem unnecessarily restrictive, talking about half the movie must be without dialogue.
No girls allowed.
There's no AI allowed, which I think is good.
Okay, sure.
But,
that's good.
This is people, I think, recognizing imperfections in the industry, expressing it through the medium of having the feelings of a 27-year-old or whatever, and not really knowing that you don't have to make everything the rules, but I think is kind of well intended for me, so I don't mind this.
I saw headlines about this, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I don't know that I've heard of these filmmakers. I guess
I think one of them's I'm gonna misremember this, but one of them's a Swedish Algerian or a Swedish something less boring and
Danish
conventional.
Egyptian. I'm seeing
Danish Egyptian.
Oh, and he's the guy who made a movie with Trina Deerholm, who is in a bunch of the Dogma films.
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting. Oh, it says Hatsune Miku also signed on this? That's
weird.
Yeah.
The fake person.
Anime pop singer. Yeah. If Chad had laughed at that, we'd leave it in. Okay.
That's it.
Chad,
thank you.
Do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah.
I understand you have a new podcast coming out.
Yeah. Well, you can get the exclusive here. Because I didn't think that there were enough podcasts where two guys talk about movies.
Nice.
Or enough good ones. Jokes about that. But
there you go. That's the full frontal attitude.
My friend Alan Palomo from the band Neon Indian and I are starting a podcast about the sort of cross section between music and film. We're going to be sort of covering the cinematic careers of musicians, so the acting work of David Bowie or
Nick Cave's screenplays or whatever.
Yes, or the acting, or we're about to record our episode on Tupac Shakur's movies.
Cool.
Nice.
We've done a Cher episode, a Cher in the 80s. We'll probably cover Rob Zombie's films at some point, and then we're also doing sort of fun little one-offs on music related movies, 24-Hour Party People,
cool.
American Pop, things like that. And Alan is a real musicologist and sort of, expert there. So, it's been a lot of fun. It's called This Podcast Should Be Played Loud. And
Good.
It should be coming out in the next couple months.
Can I share that I've heard some of it and I think it's great?
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you very much.
I mean, I'll admit, whenever your buddy wants you to listen to their new thing, you're a little nervous. And then it was one of those ones where I was oh, thank God. This is a real oh thank God podcast.
Such a nice feeling when you just think this is good. This is good to hear.
Thank you very much. And then you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Chadd with 2 D's spelled out, and Letterboxd the same. I don't have any movie coming out imminently. I'm about to go.
Yeah, we're gonna have to build some of the sets for Space Ventura.
Take time.
You're right. It will. Yes.
Sydney, probably Sydney.
Well, we're doing Dogma 25 for Space Ventura also. So we're going up.
Hey, no AI. It's gonna be hard to pilot the damn ship.
Yes.
Hey, no AI. What is this? The list of films that won the Oscars that year?
Yeah.
Let's see. Hey, no.
Can you get Kimmy to help you with this?
Oh, yeah, that maybe.
Get your AI to help you with your AI joke.
I'm not AI.
Yeah. Did she get hit by a car? What happened? I mean,
I'm something you couldn't possibly comprehend.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
that's
scary. Right. Okay.
She's, what's the Oprah thing? She's sister, mother, best friend you never had. Yeah. Okay, that's it for us on the Full Frontal episode. Remember to subscribe, rate us, write a review. It helps us on the algorithm. If you like the show, tell a friend, tell your dad. Write it in a weird little red card that you seem to have plenty of. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Podcastiformy if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or you're interested in co-hosting a 2-person Steven Soderbergh podcast. You can email us at podcastiformy@gmail.com. All of this is at podcastiformy.com and shootingyourselfinthehead.com. Thank you to Jeremy Allison for our artwork. If you can't wait that long, sign up for the Patreon. After this comes out, we will be doing something very exciting. Probably the baseball caps episode. We'll be talking because Soderbergh likes those so much. We will do a whole episode on baseball caps.
Mr. Baseball, give me a call.
All right, we will. Hey, have you seen that movie with Tom Selleck and Ken Takakura?
I watched it. We rented it when I was a kid, and we watched it, and I think we turned it off because it was not appropriate for me at whatever age we watched it. That's my only memory of that movie.
Coming soon to Patreon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.